It's the practice of this board to salute the flag. Please rise and join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You could call the roll, please, Marissa.
Michael Joseph,
Here.
Richard LaRufa,
Here.
Michael Leondi,
Here.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Here.
Mark Scott,
Here.
Nana Tanieri,
Here.
Chairman Kenneth Larry,
Here.
Glenn Keats,
Here.
We have minutes to be approved from August 9th, 2023. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
Michael Joseph,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Michael Leondi,
Yes.
Richard Rohrbacher,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry,
Yes. We also have one resolution to be memorialized, the Alex Barati application 3-24. The chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
Michael Joseph,
Yes.
Richard LaRufa,
Yes.
Michael Leondi,
Yes.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry,
Yes. It's also the practice of this board not to hear any new testimony or applications after 9:30 and to adjourn at 10 p.m. sharp. And the items tonight for public hearing are the following. Glenn Maciarowski, am I saying that correct, Glenn? Maciarowski, thank you. For an appeal to a zoning permit decision. And the next application is Nancy Novaris. Thank you. And Larry Johnson for C variance. And also, after the public hearing, I'll open the proceedings to the public for comments on matters that are not on the agenda tonight. All right, first application, Glenn, if you could come forward, please. You can come in here, sir. Oh, and sit down. And just speak clearly and directly for the microphones and all of the board and everyone else, because Marissa's been having trouble picking up the conversations.
I'll do my best. I've never been told that I'm a sophomore.
Have a seat, and there's the, and also, Glenn, would you want to swear him in, please, if you don't mind?
Sir, rise up. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God? And your name is? Thank you very much. We have your spelling, so we don't have to worry about that.
Thank you, Glenn. How can we help you?
Okay, I'm here today as a resident of Sparta Lake, supported by many property owners from our association that are sitting here behind me. It's about, the home in question is 25 Dandelion Road. It's been a problem since 2007. It's been vacant. Nobody's lived in that house since 2007. It's gone through many owners and many different changes through different contractors trying to unload the house and sell it and I guess make a profit. Absolutely, that is their goal. But the problem has been from the beginning till now is bad septics and just not really a good plan to go forward. In 2016, 2014, it was Mr. Kwok owned the house, and he went forward with some major construction issues. And I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry, I got to apologize right now. I made 5 copies just to show you currently
You have to mark those, Glenn, too?
Well, we do, and there are only 5. It
Thank
seems to me this application is simpler than
We
what
have,
the applicant thinks it is. I mean, he's appealing a decision.
well, it's, I want to
Oh, wait,
I'm sorry. Yep.
as we say down south, just take a breath. It seems to me the application is reasonably simple. He's appealing a decision that was made by our zoning officer. the decision was to allow this one to go forward. I think his appeal is based upon the fact that this house is wrongly situated, that there's no traditional front door on the property. And there are other issues. I'm not trying to.
No, that is the issue.
I thought you had more of it in reading. I read the file.
Okay,
So I think if we just focus in on the front door issue, the board has to decide whether or not the application that he got was appropriate, or whether or not this is not a front door, and the front door should be someplace else on the site. And you all will decide that, and if that's the case, then it may require some variance relief or something else. Is that fair, Glenn?
yes, but I'd like to explain it just a little bit further because.
Glenn, I'm not trying to cut you off.
I know.
I'm trying to focus it in
Yes.
for my
you
clients.
Pretty much got the gist of it. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
I'm Glenn too, by the way.
Two ends is the only way to do it.
Deluxe.
Yeah.
All right, so Glenn, pick it up from there.
Okay. What you see there is, what I have there is the,
We are going to mark this as A1, but you guys will volunteer a copy for,
that's the survey from 2014, which shows you that it has a front porch on the front of the house and a front door. And also, on the second page, you'll see.
Glenn, let me slow you down. The front porch is shown as being, the front yard would then be on Dandelion
Yes.
or on Deerfield?
Yes.
Keep going, Glenn. I'm gonna try and help you to just
Okay.
walk through your
And
testimony.
On the second one, in 1993, previous to that, is another survey that shows the steps coming out the front door of the house to Dandelion Road as well.
That's page 2 of A1 that you've submitted.
Page 3, you'll see a photo that I printed out of the home with the front door on that house.
And that front door is also on
On
Dandelion, Glenn?
Dandelion Road, and page 4, there's another picture of the front door as well facing Dandelion Road. Okay? Now,
Now, these were the conditions before,
this is before
Any
any permit
work
was
was-
issued, any work was
work was
done.
done,
This is- When I moved in 1995, this is the way the house was, just like every other home around it. I have another
This is
Day.
okay.
set of
So basically,
photos to send out. This is of
picture right here, taken right here. This.
9 other homes around this one. And now, the picture on the bottom is the
Glenn,
current
Glenn,
state of-
Glenn, Glenn,
you'll have
don't
to
go
mark
any
them.
further until you pass them out, buddy.
And if,
give me one.
All right, we're gonna mark this, which is a sheet entitled Immediately Surrounding Homes, and it consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 structures.
Yes.
All right, explain what this shows,
Okay,
Glenn.
the first 9 structures that you see from the top down are the immediately surrounding homes within about 200 feet of this home. There's no home around this one that does not have a front door on it. This, and the home that we were talking in question, 25 Dandelion Road, I showed you the pictures of what it was before. Well, this is the way it is now. And there's no front door, and the zonings, the township zonings fix to that is to have the owner make it look like it has a front door, like soften the facade to make it appear as though there's a front door there to appease us. And we're like, that's honestly,
Where-
anybody can change that.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask Glenn a question or two, just
Sure.
so that the exhibit is clear? Glenn, the second picture,
Yes,
that's a front door or is that a rear door?
that's a front door.
The front door with a ramp serving it?
It's a deck.
I'm going, it's a,
Second picture to the right, correct?
yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm reading like we do in a,
Okay, left to right.
yeah, I'm not doing Chinese or Jewish.
okay.
I'm doing it left to right. So that's a front door with a ramp. How about the sixth picture, Glenn?
Sixth picture, that's a front door. That's off of the driveway. You can see the stairs going up from the driveway
Okay,
to the front door to the right.
okay, and what's the bottom picture, Glenn?
Bottom, the very bottom one, that's 25 Dandelion Road, where the front door was removed. First 2 pictures.
So that's the answer is that's the subject of this application.
Yes, that's
Thanks, Glenn.
That's
All right.
Waldo.
Now the board can, now at least we got a record established, so now you all can do what you gotta
thank you,
do.
Glenn.
Okay. Now, the I have here another handout, I'm sorry, but I want to make sure that I stayed pretty informative with what I am trying to pass out and inform everyone of what has gone on in the past.
Thank you.
With,
Thanks, Glenn. Glenn, was this submitted as part of the record? Because
I got this from Oprah, from the town themselves.
did you have a copy of this one? It's got a whole bunch of memos to Bill Close and Janice. This was in my packet.
Back in 2016, I got this on an Oprah request.
Okay, Glenn.
Excuse me, Glenn.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I speak on a memo that was between Bill Close and Janice Stevens, the former zoning officer for 2016?
That's what I just.
You can, but not
statistics.
yet. How's that? And who are you, just for the record?
Raisha Franklin, the assistant zoning officer for this township as part of the planning.
Will more than have your moment. I knew who you were. We just wanted to get it on the record. Go ahead, Glenn.
Okay. Back in 2016, I saw what was happening with this house, and a lot of neighbors confronted me about it. What can we do about this? Is there anything we can do about this? I contacted the town, John Optoff, Janice Stevens, let them know what was going on. They were stealing electric at the time. I reported them to JCP&L. They took care of it. They underground oil tanks. Stuff that the yard was in shambles. I mean, it was just a big mess. They were just littering and causing problems all over the place. And the biggest thing was the front door was removed. And it's like, how is this going to get, resolved? We're not going to put up with this happening. Number one, if you change anything with the outside footprint of the house, number one, you have to have a variance for the people that live around you to say, okay, if it's not going to conform with what we have currently in our neighborhood, we have a voice in how it's going to look later. And none of that was happening. None of that even was applied for. None of it was even given to our neighbors and people that live next to the home. Toward the end of this letter from Janice Stevens and zoning coordinator to Bill Close in 2016, she mentions that as far as the front door relocation, I spoke with both Joe Ferraris and Lieutenant Spitaletto, police officer, and also the tax guy here. They said neither of you had an issue with it, but as far as 911 was concerned, it would still need to be addressed for 25 Dandelion Road, according to Lieutenant Spitaletto. She also put a call into the architect who was returning from vacation on August 22nd, 2016, which was Spintana. Now, mind you, the architect plans that are being used were the same plans that were used in 2014 and approved in 2016, and they were abandoned in 2016. They were used again, and subsequently, after all of this was, I guess, required of the builder from zoning and the building department, in November of 2017, he abandoned the permit and all of his work that he was doing because they wanted to have, and the last thing that they requested from him was, last week, Patty advised me that the current owner was in speaking with Mr. Optoff, and I could speak to him about any issues I had with regard to the entry relocation at that time. I did speak with the owner and advised that the zoning permit was required to confirm the impervious coverage, and we need to see plans of how this was being laid out for the exterior. He was given an application, and to date, has not returned with it. The construction official must address the remaining items. Okay, and the home went into abandonment since that point. The last thing we had, and you can see when it was abandoned, I passed these out to you. You can see the picture of how they had the HVAC coming out the front, all the pipes, the wires. That's just, you could drive through Sparta in any place and not see anything at all, even a resemblance of this happening in any home, especially a lake community. And to have the house sit like it is currently on a roadside is just, absurd. I went through the plans that he submitted from Cementana, and it does not mention anything at all in the site plans about relocating the front door. It says everything you want to know about the foundation, about the septic, about everything else that's going on with the house, but nothing at all mentions about relocating the front door from the front to the back. And he was told that they need clarification and also an exterior view as to what this is gonna look like, because if it's gonna alter it dramatically, you're gonna need a variance, and you're gonna need the public's opinion on it to go forward, whether they're for it or against it. Now, when I get, on the over request that I got, it shows that the abandonment happened on November 1st of 2017. You see, I got it marked on the page, it's page 4, those right there, denial of front door, removal and relocation. And if you look on the back page, it shows that in January 31st of 2018, the very last permit that was sought from the zoning was from John Hughes on January 31st of 2018 for the relocation of the front door to the overhang above the sliding door. And it was denied by John Optoff, February 1st, 2018. There has not been another permit, zoning, or construction permit issued from 2018 until March of 2024. For 6 years, that home sat with nothing going on with it. And the first thing they do is apply for a permit to redo all the same work that was done 6 years ago on the plans that were already denied. Because the same plans you could see on the form that I had there that I gave you, it's going to be really, really condensed, because that's the way I was given it through Oprah. But when I blew it up, the revised from 2014, 2015, and 2024. So the same builder right now is using the same plans that were denied in 2016 for the relocation of the front door. And there's nothing that changed on the plans. The plans are the same for both. Let me just make sure I give you this. No, I didn't. I give you this. Here's the permit that he applied for. And prior to him getting any permits at all, I came down and I said, they don't know what's going on. I know Janice Stevens died. God rest her soul. And John Optoff retired. So I don't know what they put in the records as far as how this house was going to be resurrected later, but it sat for 6 years like it was like an eyesore. We now, I came down in March before any permit was issued yet for this home to tell them what is going to happen with the front door. Make sure the builder knows they got to put that front door back on the front before he does anything, so he knows that it's going to be a cost that he's going to have to incur with the home. And they basically, I have emails, Gmails, everything to show the timeline and everything, but he's already put in a stellar septic system. I have talked to him. He's got a black system in there. It's beautiful. I'm sorry he's gonna have, have to move his door. I hope that you guys can see in my favor for this, because it's just absurd to have a house sit like this. This is the permit that was issued, and with the permit, Dory Fox was trying to give me, I guess, throw me a bone, but she gave him a condition on this permit, which is kind of absurd, but it's the condition of approval of this permit. The applicant will enhance the side of the single-family residence which fronts Dandelion Road with material or trim to soften the aesthetics as to not appear as if it's the back of the home. The onus falls on the contractor or homeowner to ascertain this condition is met. So, in other words, you're going to make a faux door that, for the contractor's purpose, but then when the person buys it and moves in, they're going to say, I don't want this here. They're going to remove it. But still, it seems to have a fake door on a house to make it look like it's got a front door. I hate to get a lot of drunk firemen trying to come there and get in, and all of a sudden.
All right, just take a breath. Let's make sure we got this record clear. A1 was a series of surveys with some pictures. A2 are pictures for immediately surrounding. A3 are a series of memos, beginning with one from Janice to Bill Close, dated August 22, 2016. And A4 is a copy of the zoning permit and a number of other sheets. And this one consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. All right, Glenn, have at it.
Okay, on page 2, you see a survey here that's marked Dandelion Road. I put same as of 2/2024 survey as of 2/24. that's just the current survey of the home as it is now. And you will see if you put it next to the ones from 1993 and the one from 2014 that I gave you originally, the footprint changed because there's no front stoop, there's
Okay,
no walkway.
let's stay with here. So we have a property that has frontage on Maple Road and a property that has frontage
No,
on,
it's that, but yeah, it's a dandelion road.
take a breath, take a breath, take a breath. You're doing great. We have a property that has frontage on Maple Road and Dandelion Road. And based on the second sheet of A4, there's no access to that structure shown. The only access shown, as far as I can tell, is on the opposite side from Maple. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then what is in the, on the Lot 4 side of the property? What is that?
Lot 4 side, that is another spot where they do have, they're putting a door back there. And it's totally opposite. They're calling that door, if you look on the page 3 here, you'll see where they actually show a door there. They're calling that the front door.
But that does not have any frontage.
Oh,
You got to take a breath, buddy. You're doing great. How many cups of coffee did you have before tonight? You're
How
doing
many
terrific.
shots of espresso were? Oh,
I don't think so.
no.
The Lot 4 side
Yes.
looks to me like a deck or a porch or something else. Is that accurate for what it is?
we know that's actually what they're trying to make the front of the house.
But that has no road frontage of any kind whatsoever. And technically, under the Sparta ordinance, subject to you helping us eventually, that technically is either a side or a rear yard. Is that correct? And you guys will have to decide that. I'm just, you know, this is like, you're seeing this in hyperspeed. So I'm just trying to slow it down to make sure we get a record
Thank you.
that the board can determine, that's all. Glenn,
Yes, sir.
continue.
Thank you. Okay, so as you can see, these same plans that they submitted to our zoning were the same ones that were denied back in 2016. He abandoned it in 2014 and 2015, and then they reused them again in 2016. And then when they tried to go ahead and relocate the front door officially, it was denied by John Alcoff at the time. And then, like I said, no other work was done. According to my open request, there's nothing at all in the queue until it was sold in February. And then he started to, I guess, start the paperwork going for septics and everything else. And honestly, the only other thing that I had here was some more talking points where there were several times when I came down to the town and they said there's absolutely nothing in the zoning that states that the front door needs to go on the front of the house. And I found that to be unbelievable, because as you drive around the town, every single home needs to have a front door that faces the road that they're on, or a side road that they're on. And it's just, I mean, I've been having a hard time finding a home that hasn't been grandfathered. Now, there are some that do have a house that has a door off to the side, but it was built before the code, and that's called a non-conforming structure, but they can go back to conforming. But when you get into all of these definitions, the very first definition I looked up, I said, well, come on, I can't be that far off, is that the definition in the comprehensive land management code is the definition of frontage is defined as area between a building facade and a vehicular lanes. Period. It's the front of the house and the vehicular lanes, not the neighbor in the back. And it goes forward, I said, well, maybe facade means something different. Let me look up the term facade. The term facade is frequently used referring to the main or front face of a house. A facade in architecture is an exterior wall of a building, usually one with doors and windows. Often the word refers to a structure's front wall with an entrance. That's right from the building code. And which I was told there was absolutely nothing in there that says that the door has to go in the front of the house. And I found many other examples as far as then I got into non-conforming uses and non-conforming structures. Now, I can understand that the zoning department was new. You know, Janet Stevens passed away, they got rid of Eric Powell, they had, John Oppoff was gone. A lot of people are coming, a lot of new people in, so to them, this was like a grandfathered structure. A guy comes in with a permit and says, I want to build this out as is. They see it, they see the pictures of his current survey. Okay, well, build it out as is. But they didn't know the previous history. That's why I took it upon myself to make sure I come down and tell them before they issue first permit that, let this guy know that, you know, he's got a non-conforming structure that was made that way once it was conforming, and it needs to be put back to a conforming structure with the homes around it. I got many other, I don't know if I have to keep going on.
Excuse me, Glenn, would you like to comment on what Glenn has been testifying to,
I think-
if you don't mind?
I think Glenn has done a wonderful job in laying out the issues. I think we ought to suggest that Glenn sit, take a breath. Let's hear from Glenn. It's
Raisha?
not about you, buddy.
No.
You're all charged up. You're doing a great job.
I think he's pretty amped up at times, and
You're allowed. You're allowed.
Hear from our
I'm
zoning
thinking-
department?
Hear from our zoning department. But Glenn, just a couple things. You live in the neighborhood?
yes, I do.
What's your lot and block, buddy?
I'm
Or what address? I don't care.
23 Olive Road. I'm right on the, I got 3 frontages. I got Olive Road, where my front door is located, and I
Glenn, too
have,
much information. 23 Olive Road, you're in the neighborhood. Are you within 200 feet of the property?
no, I'm actually up, I'm probably about 300-400 feet away. But I pass by it every day, I gotta
You're
drive by it.
appearing on your own behalf or on behalf of somebody else, Glenn?
I'm here on my own and my friends, so I got lots of friends that live there, and they're actually, like, everyone here.
Glenn, nobody likes a bragger. That's fine, Glenn. All right. Why don't you take a breath and, Mr. Chairman, maybe we could hear from our,
Yes, our zoning officer, Raisha, please.
look, I have to swear
Yeah.
you in, kid.
Maybe a little,
Maybe you could yell at us a little bit, but I still have to swear you in.
Yes,
You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God? And what is your name?
Aisha Franklin.
Aisha Franklin. And what's your position with Sparta? All right, so you're familiar with this file? I don't think we have to qualify. She's a hired person. She's part of the
yeah, I
family.
think so, Glenn, thank you.
Okay, Aisha.
Go ahead, Raisha.
A zoning permit on May 14th regarding an overhang over the side door and interior fit out with the AC. And as far as the door, this property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards and 2 side yards, no rear yard. We do not have listed in our municipal land use law code where a front door should be placed on a property. As long as there's nothing stating on record, in the code, in the MLUL law, where a front door is to be placed, we do not have that jurisdiction to deny the applicant. As long as what they're looking to do on the property is within the setbacks requirement for the zone, based on the ordinance of that property where it's located, we cannot deny them because, unfortunately, it's a community that has an issue with where the front door is placed. But we don't have that jurisdiction to deny them and tell them that they have to put it on Dandelion Road. Because again, it's a corner lot, there's 2 front yards and 2 side yards on this property. There's no rear yard. So if they want to put the back door, on the other side, which is Maple Road, or if they want to put it on the other side, which is a side yard, they can do that. We don't have the code for that.
You don't have the code for that, but you really have no option but to issue an approval. But of course, Glenn has no alternative but to appeal your decision because you're acting within the 4 corners of the ordinance.
Correct.
That doesn't mean that it necessarily has to be permitted. It doesn't mean that it has to be denied. That's why you have a zoning board of adjustment to figure out what's appropriate. because there are sections of the ordinance that say you should have certain streetscapes and you should have certain looks and everything else, but that's for the board to decide. So you did, or your department did everything it could within what you had to operate with in processing this.
And I know, the resident had issues about what if they perhaps wanted to put maybe, I believe, I don't recall when he came to my office a few weeks ago, if they, I think he said wanted to put a shed in the front yard because of where the,
Right.
front door is located. We will not approve a permit that comes to our office if they put in the shed where it's not allowed. You're only allowed to put a shed in either the rear or side yard. And we would not approve something to go in the front yard that's not allowed based on the MLUL law.
Right, but the bottom line is, this is let's call it a murky lot. And you did what you thought, or your office did what it thought it needed to. Glenn has and Glenn, I'm not being, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, so I'm gonna stay,
Nazarowski, sure, that's fine.
I'm gonna stay with Glenn because I know how to pronounce Glenn. You guys did everything that you thought you could, and that's why we have the zoning board of adjustment to make a determination as to what should be and what shouldn't be. That's fair? Okay, and gentlemen, I don't know how many appeals you've gotten, but this is typical appeal territory. There's only one group that can decide what the truth of the matter is, and that's the 2, 4, 6, 7 of you that can decide that. We can provide all the information, and then you have to figure it out, and, because you're sitting as judges. Is that
Thank
good?
you, Glenn.
Is that good, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, thank you, Glenn. Risha, you have anything else you want to add?
We'll get to you.
We'll get to the public comments after the board discusses with the applicant. We'll open it to the public. Glenn, you have anything else you want to
I just had
state?
One last thing I wanted to add, actually two, but I'm sorry. When she mentioned the rear yard, the definition of rear yard is opposite the front door. So, I mean, if you have a front door on the house, and if you look for the definition of where's your rear yard, it says opposite the front door. Doesn't say, well, if you're a corner lot, it's here, it's there, it's there. Okay, now that being said, in the MLUL,
Wait, don't, let's not quote the law, because you're not a lawyer as far as I
No,
know.
no.
But wait, I want to stop you because you might be making a really valid point. So, based on the definition, what is the rear yard?
opposite the front door,
And their argument is that the front door is where?
facing the,
Go back to your
not facing the
exhibit,
road.
Glenn, go back to your exhibits. I want to make this clear so when the board discusses it, they have it all in
Their
front.
front door is facing.
What are you looking at, Glenn?
Who's they when you say that? When you say-
The builder of the house currently that applied for the permits, Dimitri, the zoning permit, name blacked out. I'm sorry, I used his name. First name was Dimitri, that's all I know.
Okay, Glenn, what exhibit are you looking at?
I forget what, no, the zoning permit,
Okay, zoning permit, which sheet? Second sheet?
yeah, second sheet,
Okay, so based on what has just been said, where's the front yard, in your opinion?
well, according to where they're gonna put the front door, it's opposite Dandelion Road facing lot 4, Jessica D'Agostino's house on Elm Street.
Lot 4. All right, so that would mean that the rear yard, based on what you just put forward, is that the rear yard would be along Dandelion Road.
According to
Is
definition.
that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's all I want. I just want to get the facts set up so you guys can discuss it. That's all.
Thank you, Glenn. Go ahead, Glenn. Any other information you want to add, please?
There was one other thing I wanted to do was, I just wanted, I heard our zoning office talk about MLUL, and I've looked into comprehensive land management, and I went into the MLUL, and I read through the entire thing for a long time. And I found in the 40:50 D1 MLUL, letter G, it says the negative criteria is the same for all variances. No variance may be granted unless the board finds that it can be granted without substantial detriment to the public good. And 16B, it will not substantially impair the intent and the purpose of the zone plan and zoning ordinances. So I have several people here from the neighborhood. Several of them are the neighbors who would have been here if a variance were applied here, and would have been here also to basically stand up and say, we don't want the front door removed, we'd like it to stay, but we weren't given that voice on a variance because it wasn't brought to the construction office as a exterior or a footprint change, which it ended up being. And that's why things got denied in 2018, and nothing happened in the last 6 years till now.
Okay,
We're just looking to
we got it.
correct this.
We get it. So, you know, I'm going to suggest for your consideration that you stay with, because maybe this will simplify it, and maybe it won't, but I'm just trying to help you to just wander through this. If you go to the sheet that Glenn just referred to, which is the survey as of 2-2024, the building permit indicates that the front yard, because that's where the front door is next to, if somebody can put it better, is next to lot 4. I want to make sure everybody's with me. I'm not making any arguments. I'm just stating facts, because I got to write a resolution eventually. Which would mean if the front door is on the side parallel to lot 4, that means based on the rear yard is the opposite of the front door. That means that the rear yard automatically becomes the area along Dandelion Road. I would just throw that out. I'm telling you, that's what I hear as a matter of fact. You guys have to draw the conclusions, but that's at least what I hear before you start debating it and doing what a good zoning board does. Is that fair?
Fair enough, Glenn.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Mr. Chairman.
That's all I have, sir.
That's
Thank
all
you
you
for your time. I appreciate everything. I'm open for any questions if anybody has anything.
Yeah, you can start, Mark, and Landon, Mark, please, go ahead.
None at this time.
Okay. I don't know if this is a question for the zoning officer. he's- It makes, in my humble opinion, from when I went out there and as this has been explained, that the door should not be on Dandelion Road. The door should be on the other side, and Dandelion Road should be the backyard. And that's what you're seeking, isn't that correct?
No, sir.
No, please. You don't want that. You want it to be on Dandelion
Yeah,
Road.
we want the front door to be back on Dandelion Road, where it was initially in 1993 and in and before they started the construction in the first pictures I showed you, where it had the door on the front. That's what we would like it to return to, because that's what conforms to all the other 9 homes around it. Everyone has a front door facing the road it's addressed for, except for this one, all of a sudden. And it was conforming, and now it's not.
All right, we don't care about that.
Okay.
What we care about, go ahead, Mark.
So the biggest risk that I see is that when our fire department or our police department responds to a call for help at 26 Dandelion, I'm sorry.
25.
25 Dandelion, they're gonna get there, and on the 25 Dandelion side, there is no door. There is no
Absolutely.
entrance.
Correct,
There is no front.
correct.
That's all I have right now. I just wanted to, I mean, that seems to be the biggest risk or the biggest concern to the town, I would imagine. And obviously to the neighbors.
Thank you, Mark. Rich, you have any comments?
Not at, not at the moment.
Mike?
No.
Mike?
So our zoning officer, you mentioned because it's a corner lot, we would have effectively 2 front yards and 2 side yards.
The two front yards will be Line Road, and the 2 side yards will be where the door is being proposed, which is parallel to lot 4.
Sure.
That's not gonna be, it's not a rear yard, it's the side yard. And the other opposite side is the side yard. It's 2 side yards, 2 front yards for a corner lot property.
Okay. And to me, it feels kind of like common sense that we would want some kind of main entrance on either Maple or Dandelion. And I guess what I'm hearing is that there's no specific code that requires that. That's,
In the MLUL law, stating we are able to.
interesting. So right now, we've got entrances, or at least proposed entrances, on the 2 sides that face away from the street. Is that accurate? Okay. And this paved driveway off of Maple, was this always there? Or was this newly added, or is it proposed?
It's, it was added later. In the beginning, in 93, it had a driveway to the right of the home, and that was added later, probably like 2004 or 5, just for easier access for the people to get into the rear of the house, which was opposite the front door at that time.
So forgive me, I'm totally spun around because if there's, I don't know which is front, back, and side, but when you say the right of the home, you mean if I'm standing on Dandelion looking
Yeah,
at
looking
where-
at it, yeah, it had it, the rock wall that was in the front there wasn't there. That was
No,
added
no,
years
let's not do
later.
it that. Stay with what he's asking you, not what you want to tell him. Stay with what he's asking you, because he's asking you a very specific question, because he wants to get located on the property. Try again, bud.
No, it's good. Okay, I'm just trying to kind of get some of the history that's not written,
Mike, the Dandelion side is the western side of the property,
right?
okay? That's,
Correct.
and that's what this picture is. This is
Sure.
the western side of the property, okay?
Yep, got it.
And I think we refer, and then on the eastern side, there's another door. And then on the southern side, that's a door with an awning over it, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And
On the
that,
southern side, there is a door, and it does have a cover over the top of it, correct.
And there's no door on the northern side,
There's no door on the north or on the
Or-
west.
or now on the west.
where there should be.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. All right, thanks, guys. That's it for now.
Rich,
Um,
any comments?
Yeah. It appears that, okay, the land use ordinance says we have 2 front yards, or two road-faced sides of the property. And according to the records on the property, the front yard is probably Dandelion, because that's the address that the post office has given it. Okay? So that is the front yard. It has two front yards because it's on 2 streets. With regard to my experience with homes being built, I've seen a lot of estate homes where they go down a driveway and the front door doesn't necessarily face the road. It could be on the side, it could be in an alcove, okay, and even face the back. So I think the custom that the backyard is the opposite side of the front door is immaterial. I think that's just a custom definition. It's not, it's really just what's been brought around. I think no matter what you do with this property, both Dandelion and Maple will always be front yard properties. And the other 2 will be side yard properties according to the land use. So whether or not there's a door on the front, on Dandelion or on Maple is immaterial. Those are still the front yard. And he cannot do anything in terms of putting something in there.
Structures, there's no swimming pool going on Maple or
Yeah.
Dandelion.
And you might require him to landscape it or something to make it look like a front yard. Now, the original photograph you showed wires coming out through the front. Those apparently have been moved to the side where the air conditioning units were placed. Has all the interior work been done on the unit?
I have not been inside.
Okay. I just don't think whether or not there is a door in the front is of great matter. I think the land use law is very clear. What is a front yard, what is a side yard, as far as the property is concerned. And you may require him to decorate it in some way, shape, or form. And again, does he require a variance if he hasn't changed the footprint at all? He may be changing the siding, and we want him to do those types of things, but
Not changing the footprint, structure. He just did, interior fit out, interior renovation.
has the interior renovation all been done? No. Okay, because what you have now is to put a real door in there, you go right in the middle of the kitchen, which is kind of ridiculous, but you can require that he decorate it responsibly for dandelion and maple, but it is still front yards as far as I'm concerned, no matter what we decide.
No matter how you twist it,
Yeah, those are front
under
yards.
the ordinance, that's where the road frontage is, Rich.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's a front yard.
Right. Now, how much can we say in terms of the architecture?
Based on the history, I think you could say a fair amount because there are certainly representations. I'm looking at A1 and the sheet, the first one, which is this survey. And that clearly shows an intention. I don't know whether that's the one, Rich.
No, the other package.
Nope. A1 has a Stewart Surveying and
This
Engineering.
one. Yes.
If
Okay.
you look at that, looks to me like there's a walkway and a sidewalk and a front and a porch leading to the structure.
Mhm.
And that's done by Al Stewart from 2014.
Mhm.
So that at least would give the appearance of that being the main entrance to the house. I don't know what Al, or Fred, actually it's Fred Stewart, but I don't know what his intention was, but the surveyor is just going to show you what's out there.
Mhm. So I think what we have to decide is what fenestration you want on that fascia of the house.
Yeah, and you know what? You just triggered my memory. I lived in the Trenton area, and Trenton had a number of lots that were narrower. So what they did was they would put homes up, and they would not have the front door on the street because they flipped the home sideways. So you'd pull in a driveway, and your front door was actually, for lack of a better term, in your side yard.
Mhm.
And that was just the way it was, and that's the way that neighborhood developed. So there were no front doors that you would walk into off of Pingree Avenue or something like that. You'd go in the driveway, the side yard would be there. This is a little more interesting because it's not, it's around the back. And as Mark was saying, what we're looking at here is the easterly side of the property. But again, that's why you gentlemen are sitting here to make a decision as to what's appropriate and what's not. Now, you're not ready to make the decision yet because we have public out and other people too. But I'm just trying to frame it just to keep it a little bit focused, that's all.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn.
Who is the owner of the fee? Who owns this property?
It's in the.
Somebody raised his hand in the back, Mark, so we'll be hearing from him, I'm sure.
Any other questions, Rich?
No.
No. All right, we'll open it to the public now. Whoever has questions or comments, you can come forward, please. Speak loudly and clearly into that microphone and state your name and address for the secretary.
Hello, my name is Dmitry Kirsch. I own the property at 25 Dandelion Road.
Could you
And,
please spell your first name and your last name, sir?
Dmitry Kirsch,
Spell it.
DMYTROKERSH.
Glenn, would you mind swearing him in too?
I would not mind, Mr. Chairman.
I got used to that now, Glenn.
You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, the proceedings before the board tonight's up you got?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to keep your voice up because we're kind of far away and we got to make sure that we hear you, and you can bring that mic closer to you if you want, or whatever you want, sir.
Okay. Yeah, if you can adjust it. Thank you. Glenn did incredible job finding history of the house I own. Obviously, I received this information just now. I'm not sure we can operate 1993 terms. Since then, many houses and roads were built. And I'm not sure I can go to Glenn's house and tell him to move a couple of windows outdoors. I'm happy my neighbors are concerned about appearance of my house. It's also my concern and interest to have the best looking house in the neighborhood. Not sure if homeowners association is correct about the front door location. I marked it on the plans to be clear. So this is,
Wait. Do we have a copy? Was that something that Glenn handed out, sir?
no,
Okay.
it's,
Is that the only copy of that you have?
yes, it's not,
Okay, wait. There's nothing bad here. I'm just trying to keep the record clear. So what you're holding up is what, a floor plan of the house?
yes,
Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask you, you can talk to it. I'm gonna eventually ask you to pass it around, and then I'm gonna ask my boss on the right to make sure that she gets a copy of that into the file. And what we'll do for the purposes of the hearing is we'll mark this, we have A1, 2, and 3. Maybe, we have A4. We're gonna mark that as D1 for defendant, that's all. Okay?
All right.
All right, so what does that show, sir?
so
And what is it
it
first?
shows front door on this side and
Wait, this side doesn't work. On which side? On Dandelion or on the easterly side of the building?
easterly side of the building.
Okay, go ahead.
This door has direct and clear path from Dandelion Road.
I'm
If
sorry.
you hold that again, with the north side on the top, that would be the one in your left hand, correct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. How does that have a direct?
North side is where his left hand
The
is.
north side is your left hand, correct?
Here is Dandelion Road.
Yeah.
Here is the door.
Right, that's the south side.
And his hand is maple,
Oh.
right?
Yes.
Guys, I'm really confused.
Yeah, no, I understand, it's right here. This is the,
Let's get this straight.
this is the west.
North, the top of the plan is Dandelion, is
Yes,
that correct?
Yes.
All right, so the top of the plan is Dandelion. The left side of the plan then is not the portion of the property on Deerfield, it's the other side, is that
Yes.
correct?
Yeah.
That's the left side. The rear portion is the side that is not on a road at all, is that correct? That you would like to have as the
No,
front door?
it's adjacent to the Dandelion Road, but it's not on the road.
Help me, guys, what am I missing?
He said it was adjacent to the Dandelion Road, but it's not on Dandelion Road.
Correct.
The microphone, Landon, please.
So it's yeah, adjacent from Dandelion Road. So it's
Opposite.
back,
It's the
yeah.
rear, it's the
Yeah.
back,
No,
okay.
no. It's on the side of Dandelion.
If.
It's not on the back of the Dandelion, it's on the side of the
Could
Dandelion.
you turn your picture upside down? Turn your picture, turn your picture upside down so we get, no, upside down
That's
completely.
not the right.
Okay, so now it is like that.
Okay.
So now it matches the survey.
All right, so Dandelion is now at the bottom.
Dandelion's at the bottom,
Thank you, Rich.
and the door on the right-hand side, his left hand there, is coming off Dandelion on the south side of the property. Is there a walkway? Are you proposing a walkway from
No, there is an
Dandelion up to the
existing
door?
walkway. There is a stairway coming to Dandelion and this existing walkway, which we are planning to repair.
The stairway
Can
and
I,
stuff he's
Richard, can I
talking,
interrupt? Can I
ahead.
interrupt just for a second? Just for ease of understanding, which, because it is kind of confusing, can we put the northern side on the top? And that would be the side that's in your right hand. Right, there we go. That's the north with the Dandelion on the west side. There's an entrance on the south side, entrance on the east side.
and that's shown also, correct me, Mark, if I'm wrong, on A1.
Right, on A1, you've got the north,
Right.
right. Okay, so now we're all on the same page. And now we can refer to east side, north side, okay.
Thank you, Mark. Go ahead,
Now,
Dimitri.
go ahead, sir.
My understanding that the door was relocated to clear space for septic system. There is no HVAC units on Dandelion Road. It is not true that other homes near 25 Dandelion don't have front doors on the other sides of the house. I can show you. This is 23 Washington Drive. Doesn't have front door on the front side of the house. This is 7 Dandelion. Doesn't have front door on the front door of the house. This is 19 Dandelion. Doesn't have front door on the front door of the house. This is 7 Deerfield Road. It's next to my house. Doesn't have front door on the front of the house. So currently, house is under renovation. It passed all the rough inspections, so it has all the plumbing, electrical. It has kitchen where association says it should be front door. It has kitchen there already with all the plumbing, all the wires, everything there. I can pass all this information so you can see.
Glenn, do we have to take a look at all that too, or not?
Well, I think you might.
Yeah,
and I think we should start from the end and pass it down, and then we'll mark them all. I have D1, 2, I don't know how many there are. Maybe you can just start calling them out when you get them, and just call it D1, D2, and just put it, since we'll start at that end, just put a D1 on it, and just identify it so we get it.
Hand them down there, Dimitri, please, to Landon.
So Landon, as you're looking at them, just identify them as
This is
D1, 2,
D1.
3, 4, 5, or whatever. Okay, buddy?
Hey, Landon.
D1.
Right, D1.
Thank you.
And I'm writing D1 on the north side of the house.
Thank you, sir. And just identify,
This one's
which,
D-
what exhibit is that, Mark?
D1.
No. What's the name of it, buddy? What's the title caption or something?
Residents?
Residence 25 Dandelion Road, Sparta, New Jersey.
Great, thank you.
All right,
It's
D2
the
is,
first floor and the date is 3/28/24.
Beautiful. Thank you.
How's that?
Perfect.
all right, D2 is 23 Washington Drive, a photo of that. D3 is 7 Dandelion. D4 is 19 Dandelion.
Can I add some dialogue to those photos
Not yet?
before they go?
Not yet.
D5 is 7 Deerfield.
7, I didn't hear you, bud.
7 Deerfield.
Thank you.
D8 is a Google Maps photo of 7 Deerfield. And then D9 is a Google photo maps of 7 Dandelion Road.
Okay, and
Another
we're
angle.
just marking these for informational purposes right now.
Thank you, Landon.
Dimitri, it was said that a new septic system has been installed.
Yes.
Where was it installed on the property? Because we don't have a current survey of what was done where.
Put in your comment.
It's on Deerfield Road side.
Septic system was installed on Deerfield Road side, next to where the driveway is shown?
Yes, correct.
Okay. But we don't have a current survey of what's there. Part of the problem.
So the septic is between the building and Deerfield Road?
Yes, correct. It's an advanced system.
How long ago was that installed?
Hmm?
How long ago was the septic system installed?
It was installed a month ago.
Okay, let's,
With a permit.
yeah.
Yes, correct.
We'll just wait a few minutes for our board attorney to get back before we proceed, please.
I'm not going anywhere. I just need to stand up.
The front yards. Nobody gonna change that. Nothing will be built in them. Septic systems here, so that's right there.
Yeah.
Problem with that. Just has to decorate this somehow. Windows to the kitchen. The address is Dandelion, that's what the post office says it is.
You're saying maybe a little escaping or something there, bushes or whatever. Okay, our board attorney is back. You can continue, Dimitri.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, please.
I'm done with
Continue.
my comments.
Are you done? Nothing else?
Question for you. You stated that, again, we don't have current photos of the front yard other than this old one that show where the wires were originally coming out the door there, but they're on the side now. And unfortunately, I didn't get up to the property. Is there steps and walkways from Dandelion up to the door on the south side of the house, the entrance?
Yes, correct.
Wait, that's shown on Exhibit A1 that was submitted based on a survey. Now, maybe they've been removed, Rick.
Well, that's what
Right.
again,
Right,
either,
exactly.
either you have a walkway and steps coming up through a wall to a door on the side, on the south side now is the main entrance, or you don't.
Right.
And-
If I can show you. Then
No,
we
no,
can't
no,
have that
we're
in the
not doing
record,
that.
right?
We're not doing that. Because I can't mark that. I can't
cannot
do
be marked.
anything. By the way, Glenn,
You can go
Come on
back to
up
the
here a second.
microphone too to speak into that, Dimitri.
just take a look at these and see if you have any questions. You can look at them here. Yeah, there is, to answer the question, on A1, on the cover sheet, there's shown a walkway and a porch off Dandelion.
I did not see any walkway or porch.
No longer there, huh, Mark?
I don't know if it was ever there or it's no longer there.
Well, no, let's not put that on the record. It was there as of November 14th, 2014,
So this is-
because there's a survey from Fred Stewart saying that it was.
Okay, then it was.
But after November 14, maybe on November 15, it wasn't.
We have a couple comments about these.
We'll get to it. The board may have more questions of him, and then you'll have your chance.
Any more questions from the board to Dimitri Kirsch? All right, Dimitri, any other comments, or you're finished?
It is.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else from the pub?
Mr. Chairman, he had some questions of this,
Oh,
of the
Oh,
testimony. so you-
all right.
You might want to
All
let
right,
him
yeah.
ask them while.
Go ahead,
he's here.
Glenn, you can ask Dimitri.
I have
any-
a question. I just
No,
wanted to
oh.
clarify.
No
that his
questions.
photos that he exhibits D2 here, conveniently the door coming up from the road has been deleted over here to the left of the garage door on the lower side. Otherwise, there's no way to get in his house at all, other than to a ladder through one of the windows. So the door has been obviously not in the photo that was taken there. On D3, he failed to mention that, yes, this is on 7 Dandelion, but it's a corner lot. It also fronts on Washington, and the front door has steps and everything going down to Washington Ave on this home. And this home here is marked as 19 Dandelion, is also a corner lot that also fronts on Hamilton Road. And it has a frontage on Hamilton Road that leads down to where this is just a driveway where they come up off of Dandelion, and they have frontage on the other road. So, in this photo right here, this home is.
Which one is that?
This
Glenn?
one is D5 at 7 Deerfield. It's right across the street from him. And as you can tell by the state of the home, this was built before the land use code, and it's probably the non-conforming structure that once they decide to make it conforming, they're gonna put the front door where the front door is supposed to go. So to one of his credits, this is probably the only house that has the door facing the road, but it's accessible from the road, right from the side of the house. So I just want to let you know that all those other homes do have front doors, but they're corner lots, and they have frontage on another road where the door led to, that he failed to show on the photos.
Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn.
Yep.
Now you get.
Anyone else in the public like to come forward with comments or questions in regards to the application? Seeing no other public comments, it's now, please come forward to the microphone, please. Please state your name and address for our board secretary.
Anna Burke, 44 Fairmont Road, Sparta, in Sparta Lake.
And Glenn, if you're so kind, to swear.
URKE.
Correct.
Anna, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
So help me God, I do.
All right. Anna, you got to yell at the board a little bit so
Yes,
they make sure they
speak
get
clear
it.
into
I
the
have
microphone.
permission? So I just want to say, first of all, Glenn, thank you. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. I feel like you got sold a bill of goods when they approved this to take vinyl siding off that goes horizontally, and put it vertically to appease the neighbors who have been paying $14,000 a year in taxes for 20-plus years. This is what we want to drive by every day. We have been complaining to this town about this house and the one next door for over 10 years. They're disgusting. I'm tired of complaining. You guys have failed us in Sparta Lake. This would never happen in Lake Mohawk, ever. And sir, with all due respect, your houses that were turned around, they were all turned around in that neighborhood. It wasn't one that didn't have one facing the street. It was 50 of 50. When you mentioned the stuff, what was it, in Trenton? This is one house.
No,
It's
I
so
didn't- no,
obvious.
You missed my whole point. My whole point was that there was a side yard, it was a narrow lot and stuff, but that's neither here nor there. Just stay with what you know, okay?
I know that you are as rude as can be, and I can't
please,
wait to write the newspaper about you. The way you treated this
Please.
man, oh.
Please. Any other individuals from the public have any comments on the application or questions in terms of the application itself? Yeah, please come to the microphone, please. Please state your name and address if you're so
It's not
kind.
to do with the gentleman, I just have, it's not to do with the gentleman, it's just a question on how this works, because I wasn't given any information and I'm going to be appealing the next thing, so I just wanted to know how it works when things are
What's-
being said, because you said it's like a court.
Well, can you state your name and
Oh, I'm
address?
terribly sorry, Natasha Soreko,
And your address, please, Natasha?
54 Springbrook Trail.
Next application.
For the next application.
I'm
what-
going to be opposing it. I just wanted to know how it works. What is it? Because you mentioned it's like a court, and I'm very familiar with family court. And if things are said that are very untrue, which is what's happening, do I have to wait to object?
I didn't understand you, I'm sorry. I couldn't-
I'm going to be sitting listening to a lot of things that are extremely untrue. I just want to know if I'm allowed to object or I have to
Oh, yeah,
wait
that-
until
and
the
you're for the
end.
next application.
Yes, but I didn't
Oh,
want to
then
make it.
That'll be coming up, Natasha, yeah.
But I would need to know if I'm allowed to object when they're saying
You'll be
things
given
are
a turn.
wrong.
We'll give it a
Thank
turn
you.
at
be
that
given a turn
time,
to
yeah,
speak.
Okay,
just-
thank
please.
you.
All
I
right.
just wondered how, because you mentioned it was like court, I got a little nervous, so.
Right, okay, thank
Okay,
you.
much appreciated, thank
Thanks.
you.
All right, any other people in the public have any comments on this application before us right now? Seeing, state your name and address, please, for the board secretary.
Elizabeth Mazurowski. I'm his wife. So I only have
So
a
you're at
little,
the same address, Elizabeth?
23 Olive Road, yes.
And-
Let me swear you in.
Oh, sure,
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do. Okay. I've been listening to this for weeks now as he's been investigating and finding things out and dealing with the town over time, actually for many years since the house has been vacant. And I think the most resounding thing that I can say tonight is that I ask all of you, how would you like it if it was your neighborhood? And suddenly a house that had been normal, I mean, it was, yes, dilapidated, and yes, at one time, we thought it was actually condemned because it looked so bad. But the structure itself was normally conforming to the neighborhood. I can't use another word because that's the one that fits the best. And to suddenly have the house become backwards was the day that everybody got upset at a gut level. What is going on there? Who could possibly have misread the plans? Was there true north on that map, for heaven's sakes? Did the build-up crew not equal the tear-down crew? Did the same guys who took it down put it back up? Or was it another bunch of people that just, how could it possibly have become backwards? This is ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but years later, all of a sudden there's siding and pipes and tubes coming out of the house, the front of the house. This is what all of us, and lots of people who aren't even here tonight, have to drive by every single day and watch this house debacle after debacle after debacle. We watched some guy who owned it before Dimitri did dig up the old oil tanks and throw the rotten old ones and crumbling things and lots of debris from the construction into the pit where they dug out the old oil tanks. Nobody came up to look. La, 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 but they'll tell the guy, you got a car in your yard that needs to go. You know, they'll just, the town would drive up and have blinders on for all the stuff we've been complaining about, and yet they would pick on the neighbors. One guy had a trailer, an RV, in his driveway, and they made him move it. They made him build some place to hide it up next to his garage. And they told another guy he couldn't make his porch that was falling apart just a little bit bigger. They told him no. And they picked on this guy and that guy. All of us people who live here, they're picking on us. And I'm saying us collectively, but they're not doing anything about the houses that we've been complaining about. That's the sore spot here.
And just so you know, for the record, only this board can decide on appeals, interpretations, C variances, and D variances. We have nothing to do with properties and codes and all that. That's the zoning and planning offices.
But
We only can
yeah,
make decisions, well, like when Glenn came here, is here tonight,
this is the
on
sore spot.
variance and so forth.
Yeah, I understand, but
But
I
the
need
young
you to
lady
know
there
the
would
history
seem to
where
be
all this
blaming
is
the-
coming from.
She seemed to be blaming this board. We have nothing to do with that.
No, it's the town. I didn't say the board.
right,
I
not
said the
us.
town. Whoever
Not us.
comes
Thank
up
you.
and looks around,
Thank you.
whoever's responsible to inspect
I
and
understand.
approve
Yes.
things. It wasn't happening. Nobody was coming up to make sure things were in line or that house never would have been backwards in the first place. That's all I'm saying.
I understand.
And that's where all of our feelings are here today.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you. You come forward to the microphone, please. please state your name and address for the board secretary.
Lucy Rhea, 44 Fairmont Road. I'm her wife.
And then Glenn, if you can swear me. Yeah.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the?
Absolutely. So I just want to echo what some of my friends here are saying. We keep our homes beautifully. We're proud of our homes. We want to take pride in our neighborhood. And these things that happen around us that we have no control over is very frustrating. I personally have come down here and complained twice. I've sent letters. We have been talking about this stuff for 10 years. My home looks beautiful, and I'm proud of my home. Now, when the tax assessor comes out and goes to reassess my home, is my value going to be lowered because of this? The value of my property is being affected by what's happening around me. And we're asking you to, some of you have said, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten out to the house. Maybe you should go out to the house. Maybe you should come to the neighborhood, see some of the neighbors, see some of the homes that are quite lovely. It is Sparta Lake, but guess what? We have pride in our homes. And I echo what Anna said. I am sorry, sir, that you're going through this. I really am. But this is something that we have been complaining about for years.
All right, thank you for your comments. Anyone else from the public? Seeing, please state your name and address for the board secretary.
Seth Dunn, 22 Beach Road.
D-U-N-N.
Yes.
Seth, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in proceedings before the board?
Yes.
So if you got.
Yes, I
Go ahead,
do. So I've lived in the neighborhood for maybe just a year shy of Glenn and Liz up there. We've seen the community go from, what it was so many years ago to what it is today. Many people, looking to beautify the homes, improve the unfinished roads the town has never taken care of. It's always been on the ownership of the folks there. To echo my other neighbors, we've done a lot to improve that community. The fact that what I can see here, it looks like due diligence wasn't done. As Glenn stated, the plans were and the house was conforming for decades. And then it just so happened somebody purchased the home, resubmitted it with old already, plans that had been turned down and denied by the township. And it looked like, and I could understand, as Glenn mentioned, if the due diligence isn't done, it's like, oh, it was a non-conforming lot, it grandfathers in because of age and whatnot. But the fact that the town didn't do the due diligence is not our problem. And unfortunately, it becomes our problem when folks like Glenn, who help represent our community, have to spend all this time, money, and unfortunately, I've seen the poor man, the agita, and you've seen it tonight, the nerves just going for the poor guy, representing our community to come in here and try and fight this and correct it. Now, the township has admitted there's 2 frontages to this and 2 side yards. Well, by definition, a backyard is offset from the front yard. So if you're going to say there's 2 frontages, ipso facto, one of those side yards de facto becomes the backyard. So the front door either needs to be on Deerfield or needs to be on Dandelion. I personally would say it's got to be put back on Dandelion because that's the address of the home. That's just the way it is. I mean, I had somebody living on Beach Road that their front door was the paper road, Aspen Road, which if you looked at it, looked like a BMX bicycle trail. Seriously, it still does today. And that house is still on Beach Road, and its front door is still Aspen Road, the paper road, and that's the nature of the beast. But the fact of the matter is by definition, by the town, while you quote unquote can't tell somebody where the front door has to be, the front door has to be on the front of the house. We're saying there's 2 frontages. It's Deerfield or it's pretty logical. It's either Deerfield or it's Dandelion. Just by the pure definition of the town's own ordinances and laws. So I'm hoping that the folks here are taking everything into consideration, the time that's everybody's put into this and the reason these folks have come here and, put poor Glenn's nerves to rest, please. He doesn't have to continue fighting for our community so hard as he has for items like this. And, takes a hard look at this and says, yeah, a mistake was made. Take the L, a mistake was made, and look to do your best to correct this. That's what I'm asking. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Jackie Estevez, 2 Deerfield Road, Sparta.
How do you spell your last name?
Estevez, and pardon my voice. Estevez.
You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do. Pardon my voice. Pretty much Seth said what I was going to say. I moved to Sparta in 2005, I believe, on 23 Dandelion Road. The front door to this property has always been on 25 Dandelion Road. I'm asking you, the board, to please put the door back where it belongs. Currently, I live on 2 Deerfield. I don't want to see somebody's backyard looking out my window, okay? So please put the door back where it belongs. That's all I'm asking.
Can I ask her one question?
Sure, Glenn.
Jackie, when did you move in?
About 2005. My daughter's going to be 21, so
Give or take.
take.
2005.
I lived on 23 down the line, so yeah, about 2005. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? Seeing no one else to the public, it's now closed. Back to the public hearing. Glenn, do you want to finish up with something?
Only thing I want to say, thank you for your time. Everybody said just about everything else I guess I needed to say. Anything more is just going to be reiterating what I already said about it being denied and by the construction office and never put back. But thank you for your time and consideration.
All right, thank you. Any other comments or questions from the board? Seeing none. Mark?
Glenn, can you state what the law is here on this again? Clearly.
I'm not sure what the question is.
All right.
Here's the bottom line.
Yeah.
This is an A appeal. Glenn put a comprehensive case in that had exhibits A1 through 4.
Yeah.
Indicating that to the best of his knowledge and the best of his research, that he found that the front yard should be on either Dandelion or Deerfield, and he provided evidence that indicated at least at some point the front entrance was in fact on Dandelion. Your zoning officer said there's nothing that says where the front door has to be, although if you have front yards, you got a couple of front yards, you're going to have either rears or sides or something. The law is, this is a 70A appeal. And I think we were, as a board, and I'm telling you as your lawyer, that I think the job that Glenn did in putting the documents together was very thorough, very comprehensive, and this was a very good appeal. The law is you have to determine whether or not the decision made by the zoning office that in fact the front door could be moved to the
South.
Thanks, Rich. I'm just looking at the map to make sure I'm reading it right. To the south side is valid. And you have evidence that indicates that it's certainly, the applicant certainly, not the applicant, the respondent certainly wants it, but you also have evidence that shows that the front door has always been on the front of the lot. I understand exactly what Rich LaRuffa was talking about. And certainly you have big estates that have no relationship whatsoever to where front yards are and rear yards and side yards. You put something up on the mountain, and nobody really cares. This is an existing platted subdivision. It's a lake community. and you have a zone plan and zone scheme. And I think you have to weigh in to account what's out there and what's not. And, you know, the tradition, if you look at ordinances, is that the front yard is always connected to a road. I mean, I did, in all fairness and candor, in spite of what other people may say, I tried to give you an example of something else, but I'm not here to make the decision. My attitude is, if you look at all the definitions in Sparta's ordinance, if you look at the illustrated book of definitions and phrases done by Moskowitz, they would say that a front yard is the front yard by the street, and it's where the front main access is to the structure. This may be different, and I'm not here to make the decision. I'm here to just try and create and help people not represented by council to create a record. And that's all I was trying to do.
All right, thank you, Glenn.
But Glenn, in terms of the property,
Yes, sir.
we have other properties, corner properties, where you have front yards on two sides and side yards. You don't have any backyards.
That's
or
right.
rear yards. So this property, I think, consists of two front yards and two side yards,
Okay.
right?
Yeah,
No rear yard in
You
this
could, you
one.
could certainly find that. I don't know how Sparta has interpreted that. That's always the mystery across the state, quite frankly, because I'm on the drafting committee and I've done stuff for the Department of Community Affairs. So you're absolutely correct, Rich. You're absolutely correct. You all can determine. I don't know what the tradition has been, and maybe some of the senior members of the board, I don't know how many of these you've had before as to what constitutes fronts, sides, and rears. I'm not going to jump into that. And David's not here tonight as your board historian. But you're absolutely right.
All right, any other comments from the board or questions?
I'm confused.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm confused. It's okay. Go ahead. It's all right. Go ahead. You have a question?
Well, I'm confused as to Richard's comment that this has two front yards and two side yards.
That's a
Right.
definition.
Okay, and I'm only confused because I'm just trying to understand if we're all on the same page. Are you saying that the two front yards are the ones that that are on the street?
Yes.
I think you are, correct? All right, so it's clear that the two front yards do not have any entrances. Two front yards do not have any entrances. And the two side yards are where the entrances are. And that's not what the code says, right?
I don't think the codes, I think what we heard from our zoning official is that the code doesn't clearly speak to that. Is that correct?
Okay.
All right, Mark?
Okay, I still need to be.
Mark, you finished then with,
Well, I mean, my recommendation is that we all go out there and look at this.
we know,
It may not even require that. I mean, maybe it is a clear, cut and dry rule, but I don't see the clear, cut and dry rule. I don't see that being shown to me.
I look at the survey that's on the cover for Exhibit A1. And I look at the survey that's page 2 of A4. And, all right, it's basically 10 years apart. When did they get rid of this front door that was there? And the walkway? It's missing. I don't understand. I'm stupid.
I can answer that for you.
go ahead, Glenn.
Yes.
they got rid of it in 2014, 2015, when they submitted new plans for major reconstruction of permits. In one of the documents that I gave you, it shows the permit timeline. Between 2015, 2016, when I noticed all the pipes coming out of the front of the house, that's when I said, wait a minute here, there's something going on. And that's when I wrote the letter to the town. That's when this all happened in 2016. So, and it was done without the approvals, because when they finally realized, Janice Stevens told them, we need to know what this is gonna look like on the outside. Because now you're talking about changing the exterior, you got interior permits. And now you're talking about changing the exterior, which is the footprint, and, and then they abandoned the permits and said, okay, we're done. January 2018, they came back, which was 2 months later, because November 2017 is when they abandoned it. I guess they regrouped and said, okay, let's get a permit for relocating the front door to the side where the sliding doors are, where he wants to put the front door currently and says it is now, which it isn't. And it was denied by John Optoff. And it's in the form I showed you. It's right in the open request. And from then until now, nothing has been done with the house. Nothing. It sat like it was changed, never put back. And that's why I wanted to make it a point to get down there before he spent even the first dime with his septic, with anything in that house, so he doesn't have to claim too big of a hardship. And the zoning officer said, we're not going to stop him, but you can appeal. And that's why I'm here now, and that's why he's already gone through, I guess, the septic and some other interior build out, because he's been given the permit and allowed to continue, even though it was within the 20-day appeal time for me to appeal this decision. Obviously, she sees that there's an error here, because she wants him to make a facade of a front door appear as though there's a front door to soften the aesthetics for the neighborhood. And as you can see in the photos that I gave in the collage, the 9 immediate homes around it all have front doors. And you look at, I specifically made his home big. You can see there's no front door.
All right.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Glenn, in terms of crafting, the chair entertaining a motion, I would entertain the motion affirming the zoning officer's action was correct in regards to the application SBA 0824, et cetera, and we can take a vote on that.
Yes, sir. You keep it that simple.
Yeah.
The affirming would be to allow for it to be constructed as shown.
Correct.
So if you don't think that that's where the front door should be, then you would not agree with that.
I do have a motion on that, I guess, Mike?
Yeah, this is a little unorthodox. I'll give it a
Yeah,
shot.
no, we can work through it.
I'll make a motion to have the board attorney.
Yeah. If you don't understand.
I don't understand that, Glenn. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
He was talking about the voting, Mark?
So we're going to make a motion affirming that the zoning officer's decision was correct, right? And
In allowing the front door to go on the non-street facing side of the property.
right. And then a yes vote would be agreeing with that, and a no vote would be opposite.
Disagree with the planning, with the.
Saying
zoning
that basically
officer.
the front door would have to either be on Maple or on Dandelion.
The zoning officer said that the door could be on the south or on the eastern side, the non-street side.
On the lot, on the side adjacent to lot 4, that's correct.
Right, it seems like everything in the record to date has allowed this, right?
Exactly.
Sorry.
Oh, no, wait, that's not exactly correct. Someone has allowed it, but the ordinance doesn't allow it, does it?
It
The
does.
ordinance
I think
says
that's
that
what
it
we
has to front.
established.
It has to front on Dandelion or Maple.
No, that's what
I
I
don't
would have
think
thought
that's what your
too.
zoning officer opined. Is that correct? As per a front door. Does the front door have to be on either Dandelion or Maple?
It does not say in the code where the front door needs to be on a corner lot that has 2 front yards and 2 side yards. It does not state in the code.
Which surprises me too, but it, unless somebody can point to something otherwise, it feels like this is conforming.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree, Mike. So Glenn, if you're so kind to explain the voting, yes or no, so Mark and all of us can.
I think it's really easy. You
I mean,
either
just to
vote to
explain it again.
You either vote to affirm
Yeah,
their decision, or you vote to deny their
deny it,
decision.
that's it.
Or reverse it, not deny, reverse
We
the
could craft
decision,
it that way, Mike, then to
keeping
make
it
it a
as
little
simple as
easier.
possible.
in
And then they'll
terms.
have to take and file the appropriate applications.
Reaffirming the zoning office or not, basically, like Glenn just said, make it easier that way.
Can we add qualifications,
Such as?
such as
Oh, yeah, you're talking.
a street entrance from Dandelion? First of all, affirm that they have 2 front yards and 2 side yards on this property.
Right. Do they?
Okay? And can that be our determination?
Yeah, you
That's
should
part of
determine
it.
that based
And
on.
can we
others.
also require that the entrance to the property has to be off Dandelion with a walkway to the door that may be located on the south side? And appropriate decoration or landscaping, a landscaping plan be submitted to show how the Dandelion fascia of the house will be decorated or covered,
Enhanced to give it to give it the appearance
Right,
of it being the front of the structure.
right, and no equipment would be located on the Dandelion side of the house. But I see it's already on the south side next to the front door, the AC on this 2024 shot.
And Rich, would you want to clarify that again with Mike, since he's going to be making a motion?
Or Rich can just make it.
Could I ask a
Oh,
question to our zoning officer, our assistant zoning officer? Could I ask her a question? So you said that there's 2 front yards, 2 side yards. Code is quiet or doesn't speak to or doesn't restrict where the front door has to be, right? Now, had the property had one front, faced one street and had, only one frontage, does the code speak to where the front door has to be? Right.
Then of course, the code, it would state the code where the front door should go. But this is a corner lot, and with corner lots, that's with all corner lot properties, you had 2 front yards and 2 side yards. So it does not state where a front door needs to be located. We don't have that in the land use law or in UCC code.
And that's
which is Uniform
unique,
Construction Code.
and that's unique to corner lots. Sounds like a miss.
I would just add, though, that your ordinance, along with hundreds that I've read, indicates that the front yard and the main access should be off of a road. That's all. I mean, we did reverse frontages by way of example, and it's got no binding issue. We did reverse frontages in Hamburg out of the quarry development. Because they just wanted it to look more, so they didn't care that it was on Route 94. They wanted the reverse frontage internal, so that the stuff facing the back. But the idea is you're also looking at the zone plan and zone scheme of the area and what the neighborhood is like.
Right.
And if the neighborhood has all access to buildings, or generally has all access to buildings off of roads, that's traditional subdivision. That's what the ordinance actually looks to. So that's your neighborhood scheme that zoning boards look to, and that's some of the variance testimony. This isn't a variance, but that's some of the testimony you'd hear. So normally you would expect a front yard, as Glenn is positing, you would expect the front door to be off a road. And again, I'll come back to A1, sheet 1. That's clearly shown. The access to the property.
Mr. Leondi, may I?
Sir.
In his own pictures, the 3, 4, and 5, they're corner lots. He just showed you the lot where it didn't have the door, just the driveways.
Yeah, we
The other
did note
side,
that.
fronts on the road and had door on the other
Right.
road
They-
side. There are 3 corner lots.
Understood.
And this home, it was never approved to move the door. It was assumed it was already existing when she got it. It was denied in 2018 on the,
Okay.
on the form by John Opdop, and it was never sought again because in discovery, there was nothing from 2018 when he denied it the first time to where it was resubmitted again to move the door. So by the plans, and the plans don't even mention anything about moving the front door. They just automatically assume there is no front door and put front door on no roadside. So I'd say it's the previous builder's error in doing it without the permits. And then now this builder's, I mean, sorry he has to go through this, but he can't reap the benefit of not crime, but, something that shouldn't have happened and should have been corrected, which would have been corrected if the builder kept on building. He would have put the door back and said, shame on me. But he just gave up, and then he sold the house. And now Mr. Dimitri has it, and it should be, we shouldn't be penalized and say, well,
Glenn, excuse me, we got it all. You explained it very well, so I don't want to have you there, keep going on. We understand, we appreciate it, all right? Thanks.
thank you.
All right, then, Mike,
Another
yeah,
question.
go ahead, Mark.
Does the front door have to be a functional door, or can it just be a facade?
I think that's an interesting question, and I thought that's kind of where Rich was going, and that's why I
Exactly.
mentioned the reverse frontage.
So if there
If it-
was, if where this on the Dandelion side, the western side, where we have this walkway, according to the survey, and an entrance, if there was a facade door there, would that solve the problem? I
Well,
mean,
Not,
That's-
I wouldn't get into a back and forth, Mark.
I'm sorry.
I would suggest you keep it up
Yeah, I'm
here.
sorry. You're right.
No,
Yeah,
no
all right.
apology,
But-
no apology. I think, the front is the front is the front is the front. Let's not get cute about that. So you have a front that's either gonna be on Dandelion or Deerfield. And that's the testimony. How it got moved or why it got moved, it's really got very little to do with it. So, I think this is pretty straightforward, quite frankly. And you should just, I would put a motion up and then get a second. And Rich offered something,
Yeah.
and you're going in a slightly different direction, but not much, Mark.
No, after you start, I mean, I would,
All right.
I would make the motion that we say that the door, the entrance has to be on Dandelion or Deerfield.
Well, that'll be after the motion's made, either affirming the zoning office finding or not, and then we can get into what you said, and then Rich had some comments too, so
Okay.
we have to get the original motion, which Mike was
Trying.
preparing to do, was trying to do, so.
Sorry
if you're
again,
so-
Heroically trying.
If you're so kind, Mike, to
Yeah.
continue.
All right, so let's make a motion to have the board attorney draft a resolution affirming the zoning officer's decision was correct in approving the existing permits for 25 Dandelion Road, block 32006, lot 3. Rich, I'll take a stab at what you were getting at before, unless you want to amend this. With conditions that landscape plans be submitted for approval regarding aesthetics along Dandelion and Deerfield Road, affirming 2 front yards, 1 at Deerfield, 1 at Dandelion, and 2 side yards, which are adjacent lots 2 and 4, and that there's no MEP equipment to be located on the front yards.
Covered it all, Rich?
Yep.
And then he said the landscaping, yeah, too, right? He said with the.
Yeah, he said that- he said
all right,
that.
I'm sorry. Is there a second to that? Second, please.
I'll second that.
And now, like you said, Mark, you had addendums or comments to add?
About the facade.
It's either gonna be voted up or voted down.
Right, it's,
I think that'll probably pretty much do it.
I mean, what this motion is saying, that the front door either has to be on Dandelion or,
With a no vote,
Maple.
With a no vote, you're saying
no
that.
vote.
Yes, with a yes vote, we're saying as is acceptable. With upgrades to aesthetics,
And the
et
reason
cetera.
for that is because the zoning official said that it was okay.
Yeah, but the zoning official's allowed to make an opinion.
Right.
And you're allowed to look at it. And it's not that she was not doing her job. She did her job as best as is possible.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, you gentlemen are the judges to affirm. That's all. She did the best she could. No criticism, no anything.
within law.
And you have additional information that was submitted by Glenn that you weighed and you found something different. That's all. It's no harm, no foul to that office.
Right.
They did their job.
All right, Mark?
Question. I have a question.
Sure.
When we say an upgraded landscaping plan, who's that gonna be submitted to for approval? To David? Because in order to put the appearance of a front door there, you also have to put the appearance of a porch and steps,
Which I don't love.
which
the
doesn't
way.
make sense.
Which doesn't make sense, but which was shown in 2014.
Right. Which
That's
doesn't
just-
make sense.
That's a weird precedent.
So the only thing they could do is put plantings there.
I don't know how you do that.
I don't know how you do that.
Well, I think you ought to vote on this one.
Yeah.
And see if it gets wings.
Marissa, please call the roll.
Michael Joseph,
No.
Richard LaRufa,
No.
Michael Leondi,
Yes.
Richard Rawbacker,
No.
Mark Scott,
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
No. And then, Glenn, can you explain that vote to the public and so forth, if you're so kind?
Sure. The
might
vote
not-
is that they're going to have to come in with plans that show a front door in one of the front yards, basically, and comply with those requirements. I think
Thank
that's,
you so much.
I think it's that simple.
Thank you.
So does everyone understand that? All right.
Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
All right, you're welcome, Glenn.
I'll finally sleep.
You're welcome. Good luck with everything, too.
Thank you.
All right.
Is that it?
That's
Glenn.
it. All right, thank you.
Glenn, we got everything that you submitted.
Thank you all, thank you for all coming. You're welcome. I think, want to take a 5-minute recess? Yeah, we're going to take a 5-minute recess before we get to the next application, if you're so kind. 5 minutes, that's all.
I need to.
All right, thank you.
On the way in, but
Okay.
the locked door situation.
Yeah. Let's,
Like he was saying, the whole thing from the first appeal, the scheme of the neighborhood there.
Yeah.
Comes down to, right?
If there was a way of just doing it simply with a walkway around
Yeah.
the side,
Yeah.
it'd be fine, but you're
Right.
never gonna make it look like a front entrance.
That's the bottom line. Oh, no, not yet. You can sit back there yet, just 5 minutes, and then we'll call the application, all right? Thank you for your patience.
I want the front door.
That's what we got. That's what we got.
That's what we got, but I voted the wrong.
You wrote it the wrong way.
I voted the wrong.
You want to get to Glenn on that? No?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, no, so that has to be changed, and if you want to, I've had that in the past happen. There's something way to correct that. You talk to Glenn. Yeah. Thanks for doing all that, Mike.
Thanks,
I
Brian.
appreciate it. Well, that was a tough one. That's funny.
I think it's simple.
Yeah.
That was really tough.
It's confusing, yeah, it's hard, but, yeah.
Doesn't feel good.
I know. I always respect everyone's vote. I've been on this long enough, so whatever your reasons are, I always respect them.
If there was a way of making it look like a front, having the door on the side is not a problem. Just walkway around it and everything.
Yeah.
It's just,
It just needs a lot of work on the outside. It's just really ugly. I get it, everybody's.
Yeah.
Gets into weird territory when we
Oh,
start
it does.
telling people, you know.
Yeah, I know what you mean on that, Mike. last thing.
You weren't put on the board.
I didn't understand too, I've never had an appeal
Decision. Whether you like it
carried
or
to
not,
another
you can state your reasons
meeting.
why.
Once every
or
three
whatever.
months.
I'm not happy of voting,
boy,
I'm
it's
not
like a
happy
can of
voting yes because of this, and
Appeal,
this.
it's an application
I'm going to
that
vote
varies
no
where,
because of this,
okay,
this, and this. I'd rather not.
come back and, next month, I think this.
No,
Thank you. Right, yeah, right.
So I was a little confused when he said that.
I was helping him. Any actions that-
About 5 minutes.
Yeah, she must have been oblivious to
But I was,
that you
I
were.
just talked to Glenn about it. I said, Glenn, I wasn't pouncing on you, buddy. I just was creating a record to make the case one way or the other.
Raisha, thanks
And
for
I had no
coming
idea
tonight.
How you guys were going.
Thank you for all your time.
It was a way.
You too.
of making it look. The door on the side doesn't look.
You know what? I agree with you, but every time I've seen one of these reverse
More changes,
structures,
I appreciate that.
and that's traveling.
But I
all over
respect
the
that
state
110%.
Looking at
You
it.
have to have difference of opinion.
They
So
do.
I'm with you 100% when people.
How much do you hear it?
Yeah, I know.
But I do
still-
love
I know.
the guy's
You must
pictures.
have
They're very crafty to leave out the.
Well, yeah,
I know.
Those were really good.
I didn't like that so much.
Yeah,
but-
that wasn't very
And
honest
I'm
thing
just
to do.
asking you guys, I wasn't nasty,
No.
right? I thought I was trying
Glenn,
to.
you saw me confirming what this board can do or not do and sticking up for the board.
Absolutely.
I didn't know what to say in terms of your situation. I figured.
Let it go.
Such a jerk.
Put it on the paper. All the stuff you were talking about, that was fine. That was just what we needed to do, so you guys could make a decision. I had no idea which way you were gonna go. I know what a front yard is, and I know what a side yard is, and I know what a corner lot is. So, it's all right.
I think I put it the wrong way. I wanted to say yes.
All right. Maybe.
I think you voted.
Yeah.
Huh?
That's fine. Thanks.
I know. I
Because
did, but I
you-
did.
I wasn't trying to tell you, I don't vote, but it's like,
No.
that's not where you were going, buddy.
The problem is, we don't, exactly, right, so. Anyway, I don't know, but I can't change my vote. The decision is what it is. and-
That
and
doesn't
it
matter.
worked out okay, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. If it had
Just
been,
everybody in that neighborhood hates me
you know what? The only way you could have had a do-over was if the vote had been 3-3.
Right.
Then we would have said,
No.
we're not doing a tie.
Right,
Something
right.
like this.
No.
How does it feel now?
Due diligence, I was curious. It's a combination of a bunch of things, right? Due diligence was done, and-
Front door belongs.
And that seems like a miss with the ordinance.
I'm
that
just
only
waiting for
corner lots
one more
not
member to
here.
come back. The guy with the
I'll be right
cane.
back, Mr. Chairman. I,
Oh,
We're waiting for
Town
Rich
council has to
to,
come?
we're good.
Okay,
If you've only seen this once in 35 years, I think we're in good shape.
okay.
yeah, I don't remember any appeal.
no, I don't think you ever had one.
No, it's been a while, long
Here,
time.
here I am, the one that kept saying, let's make sure we have.
They're all different.
I end up.
It's totally different. Right.
I end up being confused.
They do get confusing, you know. Very.
All right, very passionate people.
There's not even a railroad.
Sounds like town's for
Well, that's right. Yeah, what Rich, there's not even a railroad involved in his application. It was very passionate, so. We're just waiting for a board attorney to get back. He just took, I think, a walk to the men's room.
Hey, I got an excuse for walking slow.
You got back pretty quick, Rich, yeah.
This might be our longest meeting this year.
Yeah, you're right. With only 2 applications, no less.
Yeah.
Um,
That was the most activity from the public we've had in a long time.
That's right, too. Over the last couple of meetings, there's no public input. Hang in there. We'll be getting back to it as soon as he comes back in, or board attorney. We can't start without him. Who knows? Ready, Glenn?
I'm home.
Marissa, you ready too? Public hearing is back in session. Last application, Nancy Norris and Lara Johnson. Please come forward. Take a seat there and make sure everyone speaks loudly and clearly enough for the microphones to pick everyone up. And then,
Nancy Novaya
Right.
is how you say it.
and,
The exhibits from the last one?
and,
Give me those?
It's.
and,
No, we had passed them all to you.
Kenny, did you keep the exhibits from the last one?
no.
Who's got them? Somebody have a set, because I just gave mine up, because they're for the record, but I need a set to do the resolution.
Oh,
Oh, you mean R?
The copies that he handed
Hey,
out.
1, 2, 3, and 4, bud.
They're not marked.
And I'll make,
Mike has them, but they're not marked.
that's all right.
That's okay.
But I'll make copies if anybody wants souvenirs from tonight.
I've only got 3.
You're set, right, Glenn?
Got 'em?
I am.
Yeah, he's good. Thanks, Mike. And then, would you like to qualify and swear in, Glenn?
Well, do we have counsel here? Somebody's all dressed up with a tie
I
on.
think he's the surveying counsel.
Good evening, Matthew Lynch from Dolan and Dolan on behalf of the applicant, Nancy Novayes and Leah Johnson. The lovely lady to the left of me will be testifying on behalf of the applicant.
Okay. Nancy, would you please stand and raise your right hand? You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God? Nancy, what's your name?
Nancy Novayes, Novaes.
Okay, counsel, it's all yours.
Record, my husband is Laird, Laird Johnson.
And is that him?
That's the gentleman right there.
All right, we won't swear him in because we always keep count on the woman to provide better testimony.
Oh, and this is, excuse me, this is Lake Mohawk?
Lake
Ackland. And now, do you object to anyone sitting on this board from Lake Mohawk to hear your application tonight?
I'm sorry, please
You-
repeat.
And would you object to any board members that reside in Lake Mohawk from hearing the application tonight?
Not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Just as a brief introduction, I'll just add, this is a much less controversial matter for tonight.
Your lips to God's ears.
And then, Mr. Lynch, can you talk louder for the microphone to
Yeah,
pick
sorry.
you up? Because we've been having issues
on the
with the
table there.
recordings.
Yeah, so it's, as I just said, we're here tonight just solely for a C variance. The applicant is seeking to extend a fence present on the side yard of the property. So it's flush with the deck, which extends approximately 13 feet off the front of their house. Being that this is a small lake lot in the community, we're seeking certain C variance approvals. The two houses, my clients reside at 56 Springbrook Trail. This fence will be adjacent or along the border with 54 Springbrook Trail. And simply, we're just seeking that the fence that's going to be technically in the front yard of the property, and it's on a corner lot, so no controversy as to that. But we just ask that it be 6 feet. We're specifically asking relief from, I believe it's 18-5.3 N2. We just ask that the fence that will be technically in the front yard be 6 feet in height and 100 and with full privacy, not the 50% as required.
Only partially.
Correct, yeah. And then, and as previously discussed, Ms. Novayes will testify as to the plans for the fence placement.
Okay.
And Ms. Novayes, may you please provide for the board can you please describe the layout of the property and the proposed fence?
The property is 56 Springbrook. It actually has a front door, on front 56,
Good start.
that opens up. I don't use it much because insects and everything. It's big deck doors. I have a big deck out front. The door that I actually use is off to a side. That is what I call my front door, since I don't use the deck doors. But sort of on the side, there's an indentation on the front of the house that has steps leading up to that particular door. So that's my main entry door, since I don't use the deck doors, the front doors. I closed on this house in December of '99, long-term resident. Next to the house, I'm saddled between old-style lake houses. Very pretty area. My side yard, which I always thought was a side yard, is actually extends forward as a driveway plus walkway. Driveway plus walkway. Now, I have been carried, at my age and our ages, we have been carried out of that house on litters for ambulances, so it is important to me to keep space for a walkway, and I think I'm legally supposed to do that anyway, but you guys would know that better than me. But I do have a driveway, and I finally decided last year that I would like to put up a fence on what I thought of as a side yard. Since I thought it was a side yard, I said, okay, 6-foot fence would be fine. But then I understand that since it was so far forward, I needed the 4-foot picket. So what I'm asking tonight is that I get the extension of the 6-foot fence just a bit farther out so it is flush with my deck. Doing that, I think would be more aesthetic to both properties. Forward of that, I will do the picket fence up as far as I am allowed to do. The relief that I'm asking is basically to add a second privacy panel in addition to the half panel that goes, or less than half panel that goes beyond the foundation of the house. If you look at the house, it is a more logical appearance to have the privacy fence flush with the deck. It's also more aesthetic. The privacy fence would accommodate the deck, be more balanced and aesthetically appealing. The adjoining walkway that belongs to the neighboring house is about 7 feet wide on average. And the extension that I'm proposing would provide additional privacy for both properties, including that property. As it is now, we get to watch everything that goes in and out of each other's walkways. And it would just provide a bit more privacy. I'm not asking for a wall. Just another, far enough up to give some additional privacy and also more clearly define the property boundaries. Should I add anything?
And in addition to the fence, we are also seeking approval to install a 6-foot pole.
Oh, I forgot. Yes, I would like to do, because the fence is 4 feet and because we're in our 70s, we have to back down the driveway. It's kind of important because the driveway is very steep. It's on a hill, very steep hill, which can be very tricky in the wintertime. However, 20 some odd years, I've learned to navigate it pretty well. All the same, I believe that a post partially up beyond the fence would assist in backing in the driveway, especially if I put some kind of fluorescent image on it. I don't want to put, the engineer asked a question about would I want to electrify it, and I don't want to be dealing with wires across my driveway. So even underneath the road. So if the only light that I would consider putting on there would be something solar, because we get plenty of sun. But I would like a decorative post, something that looks pretty, but could also help guide us when we back into the driveway. That's pretty much it.
Now, can Mr. Lynch or Nancy go over some of the photographs we have? I guess, Mr. Lynch, you would have those, just to put it on the record.
All right,
Yeah.
Mr. Narvaez, I have.
Those are them.
Yes, so as part of the
And excuse me, Glenn, will they have to be marked?
These are all submitted as part of the
Oh,
application.
yeah,
is
that's
that
right, yeah, no.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, there are, I
Yeah.
believe, three photographs submitted with the application, one page consisting of two and one page of one.
Actually, 4.
Oh, I'm missing some.
Did you? You've seen these, right? They're in there. Yeah.
These 2.
That's the,
Oh.
could you hold up that last one again, please? Yeah, the one in your left hand is as it is now. When I realized that I couldn't build the privacy fence additional panels, I stopped the construction. Pending decision
And then
here.
these over here, Mr. Lynch.
Yes, I have those, and I have,
And then
the
this one,
back
of course, yes. This one,
The privacy fence that I'm looking to extend is the same as the fence that already exists around 3/4 of the property.
and for reference, may you please, I am looking at a photo,
which one?
it's just a photo, it shows, does this
That's the
photo
backyard.
demonstrate the backyard of your
Yeah.
fence? And the beginning of the fence going to the side yard between your property?
Yeah, this is the back, this is the side between 56 and 54.
Just to keep the record clear, Matt, this is the photo that has writing on it that says
Yeah.
56
yeah.
Springbrook Trail existing, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, I just want to keep the minutes clear, okay, buddy? Thank you. Yeah.
This is what we're talking.
And these are all submitted as part of the application, is that correct?
Yes.
Great.
There are pictures.
Why don't you finish going through the other photos?
And so the next photo I have is an unmarked photo, and this is this photo, can you just describe what,
This is my side of the fence. It's a sample sent by the fencing company. This is what my part of the fence looks like.
But this is not the existing
It's
condition.
not the outside. No, this is not the existing fence. No, this is what Abate sent me to install. The other photo with the fence, where the fence was dirty, same fence, but it's the older
Okay, so,
fence.
so as
The
Mr. Scott
previous
just
photo.
pointed out, this is a photo simulation as to what you think it's going to look like, should the board approve it, is that correct?
I didn't.
this is yeah, if the board were to approve the application, this is the type of fencing that would be installed.
Right, which is exactly the same as the existing. Except that with the addition of the picket fence farther forward.
Okay, and another photo that's on the bottom that says matches existing, is the reverse side of the photograph?
Yes, that's the reverse side. That would be what's facing,
The neighbor is
neighbor.
at 54 Springbrook?
which is already existing on the fence. It would be a continuation of the fence that already exists, except that I'm moving it a little out.
And then the page with two photographs, are these samples
That's the
of
planned
the
picket.
picket fence that will be finishing, going up the side buffer?
Yes,
Again, it's just a sampling of what will be installed.
and this should be in there too.
Yeah.
This is an illustration that I drew of the distances and why it's more aesthetic. I like that word. It's just a prettier, more stable look for the houses, for both houses.
Can you
All three houses.
just describe this rendering briefly?
This
So-
rendering I traced it off my survey, which was completed, the most recent survey, October 6th. And it's a description of the distance between my driveway. This is rocks. I have a rock wallway on the side of it. This, next to the rock wallway, is what I use as my walkway. And that's the can fit an ambulance gurney. I've already tested that. The rest of it would just be picket fence to the point 25 feet from the center line of the driveway. And it would extend forward from the privacy fence that would end exactly abeam my deck. It would also accommodate the house at 54 Springbrook by giving them more privacy too in their walkway.
Okay, and then lastly, we did submit a survey prepared by Mr. Pilney. I don't know if the board would like us to go through it. It basically just provides some measurements as referencing this document prepared by Stanley Pilney. It shows basically the stone walkway that Ms. Navias just described. The neighbor's building, which is approximately 7.7 feet from the property line.
Average 7 feet.
Yeah, as an average, and it just shows, it basically just helps illustrate the
Right.
tightness of this lot, of these two lots.
Which makes a privacy fence more desirable for both properties.
I think
But,
you mentioned a board engineer. You have a report from our board engineer too? Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah,
good.
it's in the pack, it's in your paperwork.
And go ahead, you were
The
going
only
to.
question was about the lighting. That's why I answered that straight off. He said, would I need a light or want to put a light on the
Right.
post? And I don't want to be digging in the driveway.
And so everything in his report, it wasn't much, but you agreed to all the points that he made and so forth,
I think
right?
so.
Yeah.
If not, let me know.
And it was something too, he said about the utility lines to be properly marked to make sure there are no conflicts with the proposed fence, et cetera. But if we do approve the application, we'll put this report in there as a condition that you adhere to everything.
That what?
That you would adhere to our board engineer's report. We'll put that as a condition
Yes,
of approval.
all right.
Okay. You have anything else, Mr. Lynch?
Just in briefly, summation, we're seeking a C1 and/or C2 variance. It's our belief that there's no substantial detriment to the public good. And this, I know, there's no, we're not proposing anything that deviates strongly from the township code and ordinances. And if anything, it could, for C2 criteria, could enhance the general welfare by producing neighborhood harmony.
I knew I had seen it.
By the additional privacy.
This idea has always been run by, the Lake Mohawk engineer, Sabine Watson, and we have her approval too in writing.
Nothing in writing, right? Just a verbal approval?
Her approval, yeah, she didn't
Right.
want to expound too much on it.
All right, anything else?
That's all we have.
Then we'll open it to the board for comments and questions. Well,
Is the fence gonna end right here at this post?
what do you think?
Can I point?
Sure. This is the last page of,
Last page of Hello report.
He told me you didn't have any issues with it. Okay.
I'm only really asking one more. This would be part of the picket fence. I probably want to cut those down,
Yeah, so it's not so tall.
but again, as I said, I was originally planning on doing planning on doing the privacy fence a little further up, so we put that post in. So I'll probably, when I put the 4-foot fence in, I'll probably cut that. But that's one of the reasons I wanted the extra post in the front to help guide, so I don't, looking over the back window at a 4-foot fence at night, even one that's illuminated, would be a little difficult. This belongs to.
you're requesting, so the post that you're requesting is this post.
No, actually,
No,
the post
back
that I'm
one.
requesting would be farther up. This post is part of the picket fence.
Right.
This post is right, so that's to here,
The privacy 6-foot fence would only be
to
to
that
there.
point.
And then from there, it's gonna be a 4-foot fence,
Picket fence.
like this? with,
Unless you let me do the privacy fence farther up, but that's more conforming to what the code is.
Okay.
And then again, since we'll have to cut that to accommodate. I want it to look pretty. I really want it to look nice. One of the reasons I'm here.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
Let me show this to
Not-
the engineer, if I may.
Uh,
This one? That picture is like an angle on.
Sure.
The privacy fence would only come up to here. That's where this post is. The rest of it would be pink.
this is right here, this is the property, this
This
is where the
is
fence
the
is.
stone wall. This is
Okay.
the fence. These are the two posts. This post is this one.
Uh-huh.
From here, the picket fence would extend. I would probably want to put the visibility post somewhere around here. Somewhere in this neighborhood, I haven't figured that out. Again, once the fences are in, we can see what it looks like.
And,
This isn't any good.
yep.
Sure.
Yeah, Nancy, if you could sit down there and then speak into the microphone there, because we're not picking up a lot of this information.
I think I
That's
answered the question, didn't
right.
I?
Yeah, I think she's answered the question.
Any other comments, questions from the board, please?
No comments, no questions.
No one else? No.
I have a question. Isn't the the ordinance only allows this type of fence, correct?
That's why they're asking. One of the variant.
And my question is, why was the ordinance crafted like this?
We don't know that,
I
Mark.
think like,
Why was the ordinance crafted like this and not to allow privacy fences like
We-
that? There must have been some reason, right?
We don't know. That has nothing to do with us, Mark.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions, Mark, on that?
No, sir.
I'm going to open to the public. The hearing's now open to the public. Look. If you're so kind, Natasha, to repeat your name and address, please, for the board secretary.
Okay, I'm Natasha Soreko. I live at 54 Springbrook. It's my fiance, Anthony Sturo. He also co-owns the house with me, but I live in it alone with my dog.
Tasha, you're gonna talk a little.
Yeah, a little bit louder.
I'm sorry. I should warn.
Spell your last name.
Before I get started, I should warn you that courtrooms and things, courtrooms and things, you're aware. There's only, I'm a domestic violence survivor, and areas like this trigger me. So please forgive me if I go slow and when I'm explaining what's happened.
Just be yourself.
Okay.
All right? So, let's go back. Just spell your last name.
Sorry.
Stop. No apologies. Just spell your last name.
Soreco.
E-Z.
No, C. It's Italian, Soreko.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth if you're seen before the board tonight?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Absolutely.
You know what? If it's all right, Mr. Chairman, let her come
Yes,
around.
that's a good idea.
Thank
Move the
thank
mic
you.
So she's not leaning in.
Hi.
Thank you.
She can even sit it back. She can sit
Table
in
here.
David's chair.
Yes, yes.
Okay, I sit with her?
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know. Okay.
No.
Oh, what?
Natasha, now just make sure you speak into the
Yeah,
mic.
pull that microphone closer, you please.
It says, that's
Is that on?
no, it's not on.
Oh, it's not on?
Tell her just to bring that microphone.
other one?
Natasha, have your Your table mate, bring the other mic over.
You could just hold it in your hand.
You can make it shorter too. Oh.
Well, that's really short. Now I need to shrink. Can you hear me now?
So, tell the board what it is that you want.
Well, first of all, I feel like I'm not looking at. Can you make it taller? Because I feel like I'm talking to the floor. Sorry. Thank you. I'm actually relatively new to Sparta. I moved here February 17th, 2023. Actually, I had to move to Sparta. My ex-husband kidnapped my children here, and
Try to keep it to the application, yes. please.
sorry. It is to do with the application actually, because it's actually a lot more than what's been said. The day I moved in, this fence they've never wanted a fence, and it, in my opinion, and with all the evidence I have, and with all the visits with the police and everything that I've had to have, this is a last and malicious attempt to prevent me from using the driveway, which I have 14 letters, 3 emails, 1 false police report, to get me to park on the grass like the old owner used to. But it's a leach field. I'd never had a septic system before. The first thing they said to me was, do not park on the leach field. Once I'd made it clear that I was going to park there, life has been pretty much hell. And I received a letter from their friend. I see they haven't sent him today. They've sent a young gentleman in place. I've suffered 16 months of harassment for this driveway. I was happy to put up a fence. Miss Novas was not happy that we parked in the car in my driveway. We both own Generation 3 Tacomas, mid-sized trucks. No, they have a Tacoma too. I received a letter telling us that ours were not, and to park them on the grass. So, in regards of needing a privacy fence, I'd be all for it. Absolutely, given I have to put up with things like, this was Christmas Day, the worst day of my life because I am not with my children, photographs of me through my window. Yelling at me in my security cameras because I put my house on the market due to having to spend funds on legal issues that were for my children, and now they're having to be spent to deal with this. Again, I would love a privacy fence so I do not have to look at Mrs. Nervous in her bra taking photographs of me. No, this is why I do not want this fence. I am getting to it, and I have the right to speak. It is my due process. Thank you. I'm going to read out the letter that you sent to me afterwards. In an attempt to placate Miss Norvez and still use my driveway, please forgive me because, as I said, this is quite traumatizing. It's like being in court. Upon returning home, Miss Novas had entered my yard and painted this 4-foot fence on my survey, which I have, and I will give you. Bright neon orange. When I opposed and was very upset, she asked if I'd rather have neon green. This is close to my $50,000 truck. Again, on my property. So in an effort to appease, because you really cannot put a fence there, it was bought, it has always been used as a driveway without a fence, and people like myself park cognizantly to their neighbours. Always. That's how I was brought up. I don't know if you can tell I'm British. Be polite. So in an attempt to give her the privacy, she chose to put a deck facing the road when we have lake views on the back of the house. They have a privacy fence. I just want to confirm, actually, the fence that they're putting up is not a continuation from their privacy fence in the backyard. They've left a 12-inch gap going this way and a 12-inch gap going this way so they can continue to take pictures of me. So in an attempt to placate Miss Novez, I made this pretty fence. I put a decorative fence while waiting for my survey, which I was getting, and Mr., I can never say his name properly, Andrew Cocchione, is that correct? This zone, you know Marissa, I was in, I can never pronounce it, said that I could leave this here until my survey. So, and you see, even though this was what I was told by the town was the line, and Miss Novez was there when they were digging up the street, and I gave them my antique nail to put there. So I put this here, and as you can see, I still even left a gap. Miss Novez came home and parked this close to what I put up. Now, you'll see on the next picture, there's 7 feet, maybe 8 feet to the passenger side of her car. As you can see, I have limited space, but having lived in London, I know how to park a car. And I can get my truck into the back there with my limited space. However, this fence that is currently erected makes it extremely difficult and is encroaching on my property, and I cannot now use the space that I purchased the house with. In fact, I came home to the fence erected and my truck blocked in. Now, I don't know if any of you would be happy to come home and find your truck blocked in like that. Can you see? It's a good job that I run 30 miles a week. I managed to get in it and move it. Here you can see the fence is not a continuation. This is the new fence. This is the old fence.
The separation.
With a separation. It's not a privacy fence. It is to impede my use of the very limited driveway that I have to force me. And had I known, I would have brought you the 14 letters where I'm being reprimanded, told that I am thoughtless, etc., and I should park on the driveway, on the road, on the grass, because my Tacoma was not a car, it was a truck. I fail to see the difference between our Tacomas. I think there's a part from generation 2 and 3. I erected this between it because they keep coming in and moving the masonry rope. I have photographs of and videos. I didn't want to bore you with those because I'm closing in on 300 videos of my things being moved, photographs being taken, sent to the zoning board. I get first warnings. 6 months have passed. I've been down numerous times asking for these posts that shouldn't be there. Everybody follows town rules. I have not seen one fence like this. The post that she's asking so that she can get in, when I go out, she goes out and pulls that right onto the bright neon orange line that is painted from the front to the back, which I don't want to look at. I asked her politely. She asked me if I wanted neon green. Again, I was forced to move to Sparta. It's bad enough living in the town that my abusive ex-husband lives in. And now I have suffered 16 months of harassment. And this gentleman's law firm sent me this accusatory, without merit, letter demanding I take down my security cameras, which are on the line, threatened me with all of the legal fees for these people, told me to take down my raised beds, which I deliberately put 10 to 12 inches away from their fence in my backyard because they told me 4 inches of it belonged to them. They had their surveyor put 4 $150 stakes just going down the driveway and then one in between my raised beds and then filed another claim. I went by the 4 inches that they told me because I was waiting for my survey. You know how much rain we've had recently. They swelled and it went ½ an inch over the survey. This is nothing but an attempt to impede my entrance to my driveway. Now, as I mentioned, I recently had to put my house on the market. not because of the 16 months of harassment. However, if you speak to Officer Longo, I was there last night, I can't give you these because he needs them. Unfortunately, it's a beautiful little house. It's a little log cabin with green roof. I don't know if you know it. We had people seeing it within 12 hours. And the person that came to see it wanted to put a bid on it. Now, this is to do with the driveway, so I request that you let me speak, please.
Yeah, I was saying, Natasha, try to keep it to the
it is to
reasons
do with
why
the-
you object to everything.
This also is included. She, and I have 10 realtors that are going to be on the civil case, approached every single buyer, told them that my driveway was not legal, that I had grown grass over my driveway, which is the leach field, it was never a driveway, and that they would have to put in a driveway on the right-hand side of my yard. Now, I lost 10 buyers, all over asking. This fence is not only to impede, will not only lower the value of my home, because the driveway will no longer be usable. The people across the street from me, you have to do a very tight 3-point turn, as it is. They happily use my driveway to get out when they don't want to move the car in front. I have photographs if you want to see them, plus security video. I can send it to your law office too. I think it's 298 videos I have. I'm not sure, I lost count. So this will affect the value of my home. If it ever sells, if she ever stops telling people I have an illegal driveway, it will impede my ability to use the driveway that I purchased that was listed with my home. And I think, personally, I actually applied for I applied for a fence. I bought the fence, lovely fence, showed Andrew, beautiful white fence, but I had to wait because they were applying for a fence, blah, 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 all the rules. I was going to do it the way you're supposed to do it, 6 feet to the end of my house, 4 feet, 36 from the center line. Keep the peace. I have had enough drama in my life. As I said, this is a malicious attempt to stop me using my driveway and to drive down the value of my home. And I am asking you because I personally feel, in my opinion, that the zoning board have treated me with bias. And as this gentleman, Mr. Kynes, has said, Keynes.
Board has treated you with nothing.
Oh, no, I didn't say you.
You said this zoning.
No, I didn't. I said,
You did.
oh, well,
You
then.
specifically, direct quote, this zoning board has treated
Maybe-
you with bias.
No,
Maybe
I
zoning-
meant that, okay, so please take that off the record. I do get the right to correct myself. I personally feel that the HOA and the people in the zoning office, not you, Marissa, Andrew specifically said to me that I wanted to be part of this disagreement. Obviously, you can tell I do not. My apologies if you think that was directed at you. It was not. I was under the assumption you are a board of judges and not the zoning people in the office.
Correct.
This is the zoning board of adjustment. They sit in a quasi judicial manner.
And that's what I understood it. Yes. So you've made me, I've made me feel as though I've insulted you. So my apologies. I was talking about the zoning board. I went in numerous times and nothing was done. But I got a first warning because my raised bed swelled by 1/2 inch while I was waiting for my survey. And these posts have been allowed to be up and obstruct my use of my driveway. And they are against the zoning rules. They are 6 feet high with no panels, which makes it even harder to maneuver my truck down that last narrow part. I can get it in there and I can get it out, but it's encroaching. You can't get in and out of the driver. I was loading it for camping one day, have a video, she comes out, pulls the car forward, pulls it right in so I can't get back out. That's what it's been for 16 months, and this is just a last attempt to stop me using my driveway, and I vehemently oppose it. It's not within the rules. She wants a 50-50 fence, 36 feet from the center line, because town rules supersede HOA, and Sabine told me that too, because I had my own conversation with her, and I know that the town rules supersede HOA.
6 foot can't go.
And 6 foot cannot go past their house. So I am asking you, please, I've had 16 months of harassment in a town that I do not know anybody. These guys have lived here for 46 years. I have tried. You saw the fence that I put up to try and appease the neighbor. It was pretty. My dad spent all that money on all that greenery. So I am asking you to please make my neighbors follow the same rules that everybody else has. I've driven around Lake Mohawk and Sparta and not seen one fence that they're asking for. In the backyards, yes. But I didn't tell them to put the deck that people normally put in the back with, they can look over the lake in the front. That's not my problem, and I shouldn't have to lose value of my house. I already lost 10 buyers. My driveway is legal.
And that's, Natasha, we'll have Mr. Lynch respond to some of your comments, if you're so kind.
Yes, so briefly, going to the, I guess, relevant portion of her testimony. I heard her on multiple times say she actually does support a privacy fence being installed there. I mean, that's, as you can tell, there's a lot of acrimony between the two neighbors, hence the necessity for a privacy fence. Whether she moves to sometime this summer or later, it's irrelevant. The privacy fence is needed because these neighbors just simply haven't gotten along. I mean, by way of reference, I have included photographs also of a Halloween decoration, which I can pass it.
Glenn,
I can get
would you want to?
That was in my yard.
Well, if we're going towards harassment or other.
Yeah, this is sort of
Oh, well, then if we are.
getting out of,
Hold on. Mr. Chairman, we had numerous exhibits. However, she indicated that they're here, but she needs them for other purposes, so she wasn't.
Oh, I have a folder. One sec. Apologies.
So she indicated that they were for other purposes. Normally, we would mark them, and she
Right.
probably had a dozen, 2 dozen.
quite a few.
I wasn't counting. So I don't know what we want to do with those because we'd have to mark them. We have to go into individual details. I didn't know what the board was considering doing. I don't know how many of you have gotten out to look at these properties and make decisions, or whether this is a decision that you want to kind of just hold off on until you have a chance to inspect the property. I'm not cutting off counsel for providing whatever he wants to, but
Right.
I'm just sitting here thinking,
How do
are you in a position to decide? We obviously have some issues here between two neighbors, but we have variance testimony that had to come in, and now we've had variance testimony from the adjoining property owner that says, you know, there's a kind of a pretty big negative impact on my property too. So that's something that you all have to weigh in the
Right.
balance.
I agree, Glenn. Why don't Mr. Lynch, you finish what you were getting to? And I think your client Nancy was making a lot of notes. Does she have any comments too? If-
Yes.
Well, let you finish first, please, because
as to the
just
negative-
remember both sides
I'll
might have to carry this because we adjourn at 10 PM, so just be aware of that.
all right, I'll be brief just to give Ms. Nevaez a brief time.
Right.
The fence and the pylons or the posts that you see present in the photographs, they're all on my client's property with a small buffer onto the adjoining lot. So,
I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. What's a small buffer?
I mean, I don't
adjoining
believe it's
lot?
on completely on the privacy, on the property line. I believe there's like a 1-foot gap.
The new fence has, it's not on the, there's a 1-foot gap between the old fence and the new fence. Actually, it's less than a foot because I wanted to get as much more of my driveway as possible. There's only one driveway between 54 and 56, and that driveway is totally on my property. The property at 54, traditionally, the parking area is at the top of the lot. The septic system is only 15 feet wide, and there's a little tree that marks a corner of it. The parking spot for 54 is beyond that. It's at the top of that lot. If you go along Springbrook, you'll see several houses that are in that situation that have driveway along the top. There is no driveway at 54. It's
Yes,
not
there is.
zoned for it. That's why there's a fence there. And as to her other complaints, I I have not exchanged words with Ms. Sirico since April of 2023. She has taken a set against me, and I can't explain it. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I can't explain this behavior. I can tell you that she has no videos of me harassing her, no paperwork there has never been any harassment from me. It's not my style.
Excuse me, isn't this under oath? This is under oath, correct? I have 14 letters that she signed. And by the way, not having any parking, then she also has parking for 4 cars to the other side of her house. So that's also a lie, so that you're under oath, Nancy.
That's not my property.
But the thing is, my house was sold to me with that driveway. It's legal. I went to zoning, and this is what she's telling all of my potential buyers, which, by the way, now you're stuck with me. We have 8 children between us. 5 of them drive. I need my driveway.
Glenn, I have a question. How do we get back on track with the technical aspects of the application, or should we carry it to another date? And like you suggested,
Did David issue a report on this?
yes.
What?
Can we continue to discuss this before we decide that?
You're welcome to
deciding
the.
anything.
No, we're not deciding.
Before we decide if we're going to carry it or not.
We're not deciding that.
We're not-
I just
just-
asked the question as to whether Dave had any issues, and I don't know.
No, he had no issues in the report. He mentioned something about the, does anyone have David's report with them too?
I'm pulling it up.
Seems like his comments were really under miscellaneous. C and D.
We go.
If I may, you can have these as exhibits. So these ones are about the
Glenn?
defense.
I got it, yeah. I got it, thanks, Mike.
Yeah. I'm wondering, Mr. Chairman and Board, Davey should go out, take another look, and whether you all should go out.
Oh, he was out there.
Dave's the one that included the picture of the post as an appendage to his
Because the
report.
testimony is if this goes in, then the adjoining property owner doesn't get any use of that side of her house, and she says, I got a legitimate driveway there. At least that's what I heard the testimony. I don't know whether.
I do have a legitimate drive. I have a survey if you'd like it.
I mean, this application is just for a 6-foot, 1 panel, 6 foot, 100% privacy, and then the 4-foot picket fence. I mean, along a properly surveyed boundary line. I mean, there isn't much else to this application. It speaks for itself.
And if I may, that's not what the letter said that was delivered. It said it was going to be 6 foot, up all the way up the driveway, bar 6 feet to the berm. So, as you can imagine, a 6 foot solid privacy fence, only 6 feet from the berm, the curb, would severely impede the use of my driveway, and it already looks much worse. It's such a tranquil street. I don't know if you know Springbrook. It's a very pretty street. I came home to my truck blocked in with this big bright orange 6-foot fence. It's way past the house anyway.
Well, Glenn, maybe we could do this. We could have, like you said, suggested, maybe David could go out there again. We'll carry the application so we can get some more information from him. What do you think of that?
I'm thinking that that's the way to do it, because
Yes, excuse me.
field visit by board members individually is worth 1,000 pictures or words.
Exactly.
My question, Mr. Chairman, is whether or not David should be brought up to speed with this to see if he has any other thoughts, because he's smart. He's a smart guy.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure. So I agree with that.
Yes, sir, a couple questions.
And Mark, excuse me, be aware of the time limit up there, please, too.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. You know me.
I know. We have permission to step on your property.
Yes.
Right. Can we get permission to step on your property?
You guys can, yes. There's a no trespassing notice, but it's,
We need it in writing.
okay.
It's on the record. We're good. It's on the record.
Yes.
Okay.
I will affirm that as your attorney, buddy.
All right, thank you. So my question is you spoke that the privacy fence has 2 1-foot gaps in it.
Yes.
And what is the purpose of those 1-foot gaps?
I don't know what she's referring to, unless she means the gap between the old fence and the new fence. As I did say earlier, I moved the new fence out a few more inches to gain the maximum use of my driveway. I had built out the bottom of that driveway. The driveway is not rectangular, and they simplify on diagrams. It's trapezoidal. And in order, because since I married this gentleman, I now have a proud truck in my driveway. And in order to accommodate that and move it back, so out of view of the street as much as possible, I widened the base of my driveway. So the stone wall is kind of at an angle to the property line. And Ms. Sirico was home when that fence was put in.
No, I wasn't.
I have a video of her talking to the fence people.
Yes, I said, do I need to move my truck to help you with whatever you're doing? And he said, no. I said, you're not going to block me in. No. And then I went to work. I have a video too. Asking me to take down my security cameras, and you've got the exact same ones yourself. If you'd like a photograph, I can bring it up to you, and I also can bring you my survey. This whole, I need the space, this about 7 feet between her rock wall and her Tacoma, and there's about 1 foot between my Tacoma and her Tacoma.
I
So,
didn't notice the gap today, but when I go out there again, I will make sure that I look
And-
for that gap.
okay, and
Is it your intent to keep that gap?
No. I figure I'll just, the fence is still not complete. So I figured I'd get panels from the fence and fit something in there just for the sake of having it look better. But I have to see what it looks like. I mean, the idea is to keep it attractive.
well, that's funny, because I have a photograph of you here sneaking in it.
I'm sorry, you were interrupted.
Built this fence where you had this there.
I'm sorry?
The fence, this fence was built, obviously, before you had the variance.
The original fence, are you talking about
Oh,
the original?
privacy fence, it's sitting there now.
Got the permit first, after the survey, and then we built the fence.
Yes, we built the fence after we got the survey and after we got the permit and the okay from Ms. Watson. Not before.
The permit was issued in December of '23.
And the fence was begun construction, I believe, February or
No,
January?
January. And Mr. Scott, if I may, the gap allows her to go down, move my tarp where my raised beds are, which I have videos of too, and then call Andrew and get me warnings from the town. So, and I was told not to block it off. So I had to use a privacy fence and then got harassed by Dolan to take a tarp down when Sabine had given me permission because they were taking photographs. I just showed you about 10 pictures of her taking photographs on different days. So if you'd like these, you're welcome to them. The police don't need these.
Natasha, hold it. Natasha, excuse me. Natasha, Mr. Lynch, this is not going to be decided tonight. So we're going to have to come back and we'll look at another date. Can we start checking on that, Glenn? And Marissa? This is not going to be decided tonight, so we can call
Okay.
it.
Would you like the survey and the photographs, though, of the two fences? Because the police and the civil don't need those.
I think those should be supplied. Marissa, the copy
Yeah.
to the applicant's counsel. And then, Marissa, maybe you can assemble a file that board members can look at when they go out and visit the site.
That would be good.
Based on what you have.
Right.
And I would also suggest that file be given to Mr. Simmons so that Davey can take a look and maybe he would be of use.
Yes, I agree, Glenn. So what's the date going forward that
The next
weekend?
hearing date?
Oh, would that be
So we have,
the second Wednesday in July? When is that?
July 10th?
Yes, I think that is, right, Marissa? Yeah.
we have.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it's July 10th. If someone
July
can check
10th.
on our phones. Is it the 10th, Mike? Yeah, the 10th.
Is that the same time? Is it 7
7
p.m.?
Hold on, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
July 10th. Yes, sir, that's your night.
Yes.
Would you like the survey, sir?
Not at this time. Thank
You
you.
can, he doesn't want it. Everything
Alright,
goes
sir.
through
Yeah.
Marissa.
Okay. I should just let you know that should it go up, there wouldn't be access for emergency services for myself too. So,
We don't need any more testimony. Believe me, we got the smartest guy at this stuff who's not, happens to not be here tonight. So if Davey takes a look and the rest of the board goes out, I assume that there will be some conclusions drawn one way or the other.
Yes.
And the only cautionary note that I would give board members is you really shouldn't be talking to one another. You go out, visit it, come up with your conclusions. You can talk to her all you want because she's your boss. But she's not going to persuade you one way or the other. But Marissa will get you any information you all
Exactly.
need. Okay?
Sounds good. Now,
Another question. Is this the survey that we are to rely on?
What date is that?
This is
Mark, I got a survey here.
10/5/23.
That's a sealed survey, buddy, and I got it on a smaller sheet, but you're a board member, so I don't get as much paper as you.
So
I assume that this is the survey that was provided as part of the application, right, counsel?
Yes, I believe prepared by Mr. Pilney, dated October 5th, 2023.
Okay, that was just a question.
All right.
Okay.
Good.
And,
Good.
and
all right, then, go ahead, Mark.
that's it. You don't want
That's
any more
it.
questions. You don't want any opinions.
No,
Not tonight.
Not at this time.
opinion.
Next,
No
no,
opinion.
no,
No
not at this
opinions.
time.
Okay.
Not at this time.
Not tonight. You're in investigation mode.
Okay.
So, can we make that official, Glenn? It's July 10th to have the application
Yes, sir.
carried to?
And no further
No
public
further
notice.
notice or anything,
being
correct?
required.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Mr. Lynch and Natasha?
if I could say thank you for your patience
Just
with
for the
me.
record,
Thank you.
so that everybody is assured, we have representations. We had gotten it from the applicant because I think it's part of the packet that you could go on to the applicant's
Yes.
property. And now the adjoining property owner has said, you
Correct.
guys are welcome too. Just take a look at all these faces so you recognize them when they appear.
Yes, because I will see you on my
You'll be
7
good.
security videos. One thing, there are showings. Will you be giving me notice because it's bad enough them being deterred already without having an army of people?
They won't be coming together. It'll be,
No.
it'll be like Noah loaded, it'll be less than the way Noah loaded the ark. It'll be in ones.
Okay,
And my guess is probably not, it'll probably be a drive-by when somebody's coming home from work or something.
okay.
All right, but usually this is a very polite crew.
Oh, I can see. That's why when you said what I did, I was mortified. I think I'd upset
I
you.
would
so-
suspect they will either announce their presence or whatever. So
You could just
don't get
wave.
spooked.
One of the cameras will pick you up.
Thank you, Glenn.
Oh, is it the realtors are asking me though, the handmade fence under construction signs that are nailed to each 6-foot post that are deterring my buyers? Is that allowed until you guys have decided? Because I asked the HOA to ask them to be taken down. Is
Natasha,
that allowed?
let's save all that for the next meeting.
Well-
The answer is they have no permission, counsel. You can advise your client. You can certainly have anybody in your office advise them.
My civil lawyer asked me to ask you, so.
Plug for a minute. Advise your clients that they can't do anything now. They have no permission to do anything until the board has inspected and stuff. So it's basically a stop work. Let the board know, let everybody know. Board wants to figure it out. The board doesn't like sitting here until 10 o'clock at night. So they are listening carefully. They will listen carefully, and I know the diligence that each one of these members has.
And
So
Thank you, Glenn. All right,
Thank you very
all right,
much.
good night.
Get home safe. Thank you.
Yeah, it doesn't concern you, you can leave. Just opening it to the public for comments not on the agenda, seeing no one in the public to comment on items on the agenda, bring it back to the hearing, motion to adjourn. I just have, everyone agree?
One thing on new business.
Aye.
I just want to say, tomorrow, the Environmental Commission has their open space and recreation plan, the first of two. So come out or send your emails. It'll also be live streamed. Anyone else watching on the live stream can also come out.
Good
Thank you,
night.
guys.
Thank you, Landon.
Motion to adjourn, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Who said this was going to be?